Yes, hello, I am James Rhodes. Today it's a WNR 599. It is WrestleMania 42. I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show is the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, welcome, welcome. Yes, all well. Happy WrestleMania review day.
Yeah, it is indeed. But we are not alone. Up next, our resident XC expert and New Japan demigod and toxic AEW Stanhouse. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to be back talking about WrestleMania. The biggest show of the year, they say. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what the AEW stand feels about this year's WrestleMania. Even though, you know, I think at this point it feels like it could be a number of things have been said just since WrestleMania. So it'd be nice to see what we all think once we put these thoughts together on this one. So this will be cool.
Yeah, about that. And last but by no means least, I've got another accent this week, guys. I know you love my accent, so here it goes. You could be taking it easy on yourself. You should be making it easy on yourself. 'Cause you and I know it's all over the front page. You give me road rage, racing through the best days. It's up to you. Girl, you're driving me crazy, thinking you may be losing your mind. Yeah. There's always a guy as well. I remember Doctor Who. He goes, Doctor Who Unleashed. So that's my Welsh accent. That was called Castatoni at Road Rage, but someone who never gives me road rage. It is Gina. How's it going, G?
Jeez.
I was going to
Jeez.
say, I can alleviate the road rage that's out there for you. But yes, looking forward to this WrestleMania review. Welcome in, everyone. Hello, guys.
I know. It's incredible to think. I know we guys together, and we've got the anniversary show, of course, next week as well. But I think this is like our sixth WrestleMania or something like that. So it's crazy where the time goes. I'm not the only old one now. I know Monty is the oldest. It seems with all of us, but it's nice that we're all together for yet another WrestleMania. We start with the 3 hour kickoff for night one. Yes. Oh, maybe not. Joe Test, Biggie, and Corey Graves with Wade Barrett. We should say we did cover Raw, SmackDown, and everything else in between on the live pre-show. Like we did, we thank everybody for their support. We're going to crack on with WrestleMania. They were outside, and then there was Kathy Kelly, Byron Saxton, Jackie Redmond, and Peter Robertsburg. And then we got a sit down with Randy, who says he's driven by legacy. AJ Lee was interviewed. She said it means everything to her. Vic Joseph, some reason interviewed Sol Ruka, but I guess it was nice to see her. Stephanie Vaquer was interviewed. We've got a Michael Cole tribute to Hulk Hogan because I don't think this weekend is going to another have enough Hogan in it. Drew was interviewed and he said he doesn't tell lies. It's damn true. He doesn't. Shawn Michaels joined the panel. He puts Brett over. Shame he never did that in the ring. He talked about how proud he is of the former NXT talent. I Show Speed was interviewed. We've got a Cole sit down with Roman. AJ Styles replaced Shawn Michaels on the panel, and he talks about his new job scouting on the Indies. And Jax, I'll bring you in because I guess you didn't sit there and watch the 3 hours of kickoff. But with AJ Styles, basically, he's got a new job now. It's scouting the Indies to try and find the next big thing, basically. And I think that's good because that's where AJ came from.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say he's going to have a keener eye for that young talent as well. I know that he's always had, he's been a fan of uplifting and having great matches, giving, young kids a platform. So I think of all people, this would be a really good job for him.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, we went inside the stadium. We got to sit down with Cody. He says Pat McAfee is the worst. We got to sit down with Triple H. And for some reason, Hogan has replaced Edge for 12 world titles won as well. Hogan's on 12, Triple H 14, Orton on 14, Flair on 16, Cena on 17. Monty, again, we've got a big show ahead of us, but talking about those people with the world titles, is there anybody that no one's going to come really near on that list. Orton might in the end.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Orton got a shot. But yeah, right now with Cena is probably out of reach. I mean, I guess it depends on how long certain careers go, but I don't see anybody nowhere close that's still active outside Orton. And like you even mentioned, even if let's say Adam Copeland was go to the single division of AEW. I don't think he would still. I don't think he got 4 or 5 rings left in him. So yeah, that 17 is out of reach. Uh, and even like guys like a Brock Lesnar who you associate with world titles, those guys just have really long dominant reigns. Like even think about how long Roman's reign was. And but he's also still got a lot. Like he got like 10 more or 11 more championships to win before he even close to 17. So yeah, I don't know anybody who's active who can even touch that outside of Randy. And like you said, when it comes to Randy touching it, it's gonna be like it's probably been a while. I think he's been at 14 for a long time, right? Like he's been at
Mm,
14 for a while now at this point. So. Yeah, man. He has a shot, but I don't know. I don't know. I think
yeah.
I think 17 is probably going to be a tough call. But we'll see. Maybe it's somebody that's bubbling up underneath now, or a Braun Breaker or somebody like that, or anybody who's gonna do this long enough to get to that point. And if they do it that long enough, who's gonna lose the belt enough in their
Yes,
prime
that's
to
the
get
thing,
it
isn't it?
back?
Yeah.
Like yeah,
Who's
like yeah.
who
So
can win it back all the time? And then, it's just one of those
right.
things now. I think, yeah,
So,
it's a little bit different.
so
Um, but also you can pay extra now to walk out with Michael Cole or Wade Barrett. I mean, come on, guys. The chances are there, choices are there, aren't they? We got the Las Vegas Mass Choir with God Bless America. I mean, someone has to. USA, USA. And that was 3 hours, basically, of my life that I'll never get back. Main show, Lin-Manuel Miranda gave the Mania opener, and the guest host, John Cena, opened the show to talk about the controversy around WrestleMania 42 and promised the talent was ready to deliver for the fans. I mean, Cena was there. He was wearing a suit. He did say he was, so like I said, the jorts are gone forever.
I mean, yeah, I guess, although I didn't believe him when he said that we were in for a show, you know? I just didn't feel that fully sold on that, even if he was in a suit.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we like Cena. And like I said, we start the action with the Not Vision and I Show Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight. Usos came through the crowd. LA Knight had a pickup truck. The match started with Knight and Speed, who tried to show out his athleticism but could not rattle the megastar. Down the stretch, Theory grew more annoyed with Speed, accidentally hitting him, followed by running to a BFT from Knight to get the victory very quickly. Afterwards, Maverick bullied Speed and threatened to put him through the announce table. The faces helped Speed and encouraged him to frog splash pull through the table and then celebrate with the Usos. Jaxie, start us off here. What did you think of this WrestleMania opener?
Uh, yeah. This was a fun match. It was a fun opener. This was exactly what you would find very entertaining as a match on Raw or SmackDown. This did not need to be on the WrestleMania match card. There were some great moments. I think that Speed did show like the athleticism. I'm very impressed that he was able to train and keep up with some of the wrestlers that were in the ring that were veterans. But I also just couldn't help but think about I was watching this alongside my sister, and we grew up watching sort of The Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania, and I was like, can you believe, like 20 or so years later, and we're getting two YouTubers in a wrestling ring. So I feel like there was a bit of personal bitterness at watching this opening match that could have easily been just as entertaining, but on a Raw or a SmackDown. Didn't really need to take prominence over other potential matches that could have been on the show, or just given sort of not this match, but this time given to other matches to make them longer. That would have been even more simpler. So it was 50-50. There wasn't anything bad that I could say about this match. It was entertaining, and I felt like as an opening match, yeah, it got the crowd sort of excited and eager for what's to come. But yeah, it could have just easily been on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah. Monty, what I found interesting, this was Logan's fifth WrestleMania. He's already sneaking up on us without us knowing.
it's crazy, right? I'm not, time like, again. You mentioned earlier about how many shows we've done. Time is flying by in a lot of ways, and I think that's one way to show. I mean, I ain't have a problem with this. I do. I think the biggest point that was just made and best point is like you definitely can find place for this somewhere else. Like I understand I Show Speed got a big audience, but I mean this match was a little over 7 minutes. It wasn't long. I didn't even see enough. I saw him do like a scoop slam, and I did like LA Knight picking speed up, for example, at the beginning, and the little stuff he did. But they really protected him and treated him like all the little training that they trained him for. They couldn't have trained him for much because he really only did a couple things, and then he did the dive, which saved the whole entire segment, but don't even really count in the match because if you look at what he actually did in the match, all he really did was do a scoop slam and then end up taking a BLT for the from LA Knight. And I'm just happy that they gave LA Knight the victory because how embarrassing would it have been if they elfed around and let him lose or something like that. So I'm at least happy that he got that. But as far as a match go, and like I guess we got a 1D out of it that wasn't that pretty from on I guess that was Logan or whoever it was, Theory, whoever tried to beat up Speed at the end. So again, it was all right. It would end up being stupid because the heels had to act very angry that the person who never wrestled before, that they knew never wrestled before, or they were taking credit for the training, got beat easily as he should have gotten beat easy. So when you really think about what the story was, and that's my if I want to pose a question back to anybody, because you gotta tell me what did we learn from this angle and what was this all about? And I don't want a real answer. I just know that most likely nobody got anything because we really didn't learn or gain nothing from this other than maybe the millions of people who watch a speed stream tuned into Mania for them. That's the only benefit I can see could have came from this. Is that Speed has a lot of followers in his in on his stream that I don't watch, but I am aware of him. Uh, and he's a good guy from what I know. They got a chance to see this. That's the only benefit I got for you. Other than that, and as far as narrative purpose and what I like the Usos to be doing something else, or could LA Knight could have been doing anything else other than this, 100%. And this really served no purpose to me other than so I didn't even really have fun with the match because I thought it was just a basic little tag match that only went 7 minutes. So even if you wanted to see the Usos do something that you like to see them do, or LA Knight to get his shit in, they didn't even have enough time for that either. So it was just a match.
Yeah. I mean, but Gina, as we know, Speed wore a cape. So I think that makes things better, you know? Like, no matter what happens.
Nope, I'm sorry. I'm with Edna mode on this. No capes. No capes. I definitely think that's where Speed lost me. Not that I was sort of fully backing in his corner as a wrestler anyway, but the cape coming out, it was just a bit much. So definitely not. I appreciate the dedication, and I appreciate that it must have been an awesome feeling for him to experience. And again, just like Monty said, it brought in, people from his streams, so it maybe gave them a few more views. Didn't exactly help sell out more seats, though, did it? But yeah, either way,
The
um,
shade.
it wasn't my favorite match, and yes, I would have preferred to have seen the LA Knight and the Usos in a different type of situation if they were going to be involved in WrestleMania. If they didn't have a storyline, they could have given this time slot to maybe even making some of the other matches on the match card a bit longer instead. But you know how they'd like to have the names on their match card. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I hope Night is finished with the not vision, and it was an awful way to start. I mean, I don't mind the 7 minutes match, but the stuff afterwards was terrible. I watched this live and rewatched it just to make sure it was as bad as I remembered, and it was slightly better, but it was over so fast. So out of five,
Hey,
then
at
Jackson.
least at least LA Knight didn't slip on his
Yeah,
entrance, you know.
yeah. I was going to say him being that high up, you worry a little bit when he came out. But what would you give it out of five, Jack?
Uh, okay, I'll just give this a three. You know, again, it was fine. I think we've all made those like specific points, but again, I'll just point out it was okay to like kind of open up WrestleMania as a feel good sort of match in that sort of sense, but really just kind of unnecessary.
Monty?
2.5.
2.5. And Gina?
Yeah, I'll give it 2 3/4.
I give it a 3. And if you know my scores, a 3 is a very low score. Predictions, WNR Prediction League 2026. This is after Stand and Deliver and Dynasty, but before WrestleMania. We haven't actually reviewed Stand and Deliver and Dynasty yet, so I'm going to try and keep it as spoiler, S as possible, if even as a word. WWE right now, Monty's on 0, Gina, James, and Jaxie are all on 1. As for the bonus, I'm on 12, Monty on 10, Gina on 8, Jaxie's on 6. Predictions for this match, I went for the heels, the rest went the faces, so I'm on big fat 0, the rest are on 1. But it's going to improve because Drew McIntyre was in action next against Jacob Fatu in an unsanctioned match. Fatu had fire eaters for his entrance, but he couldn't let Drew have his, could he? He jumped him during the entrance to start the match hot. It didn't take long for the two to start pulling out weapons to get more violent. The Scottish Warrior mocked the Samoan Werewolf as he turned the tide, even pulling out his brother's cell phone for his latest bored at work tweet. Fatu hit the mighty moonsault for a near fall as Michael Cole questioned if this was the first time anyone had kicked out of it. And McIntyre caught the Samoan Werewolf with a suplex that bent a steel chair, followed by a claymore for a near fall. After sending Fatu through a table outside, the Scot thought he had it won, but Fatu fought back with a toolbox to the face, hit a second mighty moonsault through a table to get the victory. Monty, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, it didn't really have a bar to raise up because it was in the dumps to me before this match. But I thought they came out here, they woke everybody up, man. They brought the energy they gave me the impression that we were in for a pretty fun night because of how they kind of brought the energy out. And for some reason since then I haven't heard everybody talk about how we'll talk about overall Saturday, but Saturday has gotten a lot of heat. And I see one match that we'll talk about later get love from Saturday, but other than that, everybody just act like this didn't happen. And I'm like, are we tripping? Like this match was really fun. Like I understand that when we down in the dumps, maybe we forget especially the early matches on a card, but like to me, Drew and Jacob really went out there and went for it. And I think Drew is like, I'm gonna do this. I know you got a lot of Drew Glaze coming, James, or maybe you don't. But in general, you usually have at least a lot of you're gonna give Drew a lot of love. I'm gonna try to give him some love that I know he deserves, which is he is by far one of the most giving wrestlers ever. And I know we're in a different era, and we're not in that. I know y'all saw a lot of ads about Hogan, but we're not in his era where people was just not giving anything. But Drew obviously has to be a low ego guy because not only is he losing his match, but I just thought he did a really good job of making a guy who we already think of is very dangerous and a guy we already think is over. If you really think about Jacob, has already been protected and over. And I think Drew made him look even better in this match. Not only was he able to survive some pretty good offense from Drew in a hardcore setting, Jacob was able to kind of get a lot of his shit in and really look like that Samoan werewolf monster that they kind of want to portray him as, while still being the baby face in the situation because Drew got to be an asshole, got to be cocky and do what he does. But either way it go, I just think Drew deserves his props because although he never really comes out on the winning end, he does do a really good job of the job of a heel. If you know wrestling, the job of a heel is to kind of make the babyface look beautiful, get your shit in. You look great too, but make the beautiful babyface look good in the end. And that's what Drew does really, really well. And that's probably why he's always trapped in this kind of position of always putting over the people. But either way it goes, this was a really good job. I loved it. I had fun with with a lot of the spots in the match. I thought it was just that right amount of brutal. They even had a decent amount of time. So I was like, okay, and honestly, it probably could have been better. They could have gave them even more set pieces to do. So I think if you want to criticize it, you could be like they could have gave them even more to do and actually go a little bit harder. But I think if you think about what they had been through on the feud leading up, this was a pretty good way to close it off. I think this is a really good match.
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, it's Drew's job again to make WWE watchable, isn't it? And like you said, what a company guy. This could have been for the WWE title, and I wouldn't have minded. But Gina, again, I mean, I thought this was going to be like a brawl around the stadium type, but it was kind of booked like, you remember the Damien Priest match from last year where Drew won, but it's kind of the same as that, really.
Yeah, not really with Drew losing, but still, no, I'm kidding. I get what you mean. No, I didn't mean to hurt you there, I swear. But no, still, I think even though Drew took the L here, I still don't think it did anything to make him look bad in any way. I thought Drew looked so good, and he made me laugh quite a lot in this match with his antics being typical Drew, you know. So I don't think it hurt him too much to take this L, especially because, like Monty just said, he helped put Jacob over even more so than we thought he could be put over, you know? So I think that's still, even more hats off to Drew for that.
Yeah, I think that down. And Jax, again, this match was, I think, meant to be at WrestleMania last year. So I think Jacob for two, as we know, with injuries and stuff like this, but as Monty mentioned as well, with Drew's help, this could kickstart him now for where he wants to go.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. That's the hope that, WWE will hit the push with them. But I mean, just going back to what you said, I do feel slightly disappointed in this match, but more from an outcome of exactly what Monty just brought up. Like, sort of the build up towards this was like so great and incredible. And just like you pointed out, I kind of expected this to be taken a lot more around the stadium, maybe backstage again, consider what they did and like the build up and the promos for
Yeah.
this. So I don't know. Maybe that's me being a little bit selfish here, but I would have liked for this match to have gone a little bit longer and a little bit harder because both men could take it. And I think this could have been brutal. I don't know if anyone's caught up with it yet, but like kind of like there was a random like sort of like match between sort of Champa and Darby Allin, and I feel like that went harder than what was considered an unsanctioned match at WrestleMania. So I would have just liked to have seen like the chaos that they brought in the build up that they did and the promos they did on Raw and SmackDown, just not being able to like control each other themselves and almost try to kill each other off cars. That sort of energy into the match. So there was my disappointment was with that, but not in terms of like the match. I thought it went well. I just wanted it to go longer.
Yeah. So scores then out of 5. Monty, what would you give it?
I'll give it 4.25. I did have a good time with it, but I do agree we could have got more.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.25 as well.
And Jax?
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4.25 too.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4.5 because it's Drew. Predictions still went for 2. So I'm on 1, the rest is on 2. And I didn't care for the people in the crowd. And again, we'll speak more about the ads later. It was hilarious watching the edit and it just going from like literally the end of one match into the other one. I was like, you lie. Like, that was not the experience watching it live, but still. Women's tag team titles next: the Irresistible Forces versus Flair and Bliss versus Bailey and Lyra versus the Bellas. Well, Nikki Bella came out in a walking boot, still not clear to compete. She revealed the returning Paige, who had teamed with Brie for the night. The action started slow until Paige got the hot tag, and she was the focus of the action from that point on. Legend hit the first potential finish of the night with lash extension on Lyra, but Paige and Charlotte sent both out and called back to their own history before a strike exchange. The Queen laid out Paige with a natural selection, but Nikki struck Charlotte with a crutch. The Goddess went for a twisted bliss right at the knees of Paige, followed by a rampage for the win. Your new women's tag team champions, Brie and Paige. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
Um, okay, so yeah, I'm very surprised and happily shocked. It was really lovely to see Paige come back, and she looked great. Can I just chuck in there? Um, there's a little bitter side in the sense of, we were up and down. We had no idea what was happening with Oscar and Kyrie and whether they were going to be involved in this match if the Bellas weren't involved. So it's kind of like, okay, wait, they had the Page idea, so it was never going to be about, Oscar and Kyrie getting in there. So I had a like slight little bitterness in that sense. But aside from that, I was really pleased and a little shocked to see Paige come in and stand in for Nikki. I can also see that foreshadowing a possible storyline going forward once Nikki Bella gets better and is ready for Paige to move over with her belt now, so it does open up other possibilities. So it's nice it's definitely nice to see that that reunion with the Bellas and Paige. But yeah, the rest of the match, it was good. It kind of went as I thought it would go, I think the crowd were quite lackluster with this WrestleMania as a whole anyway, but I do feel like after sort of, the big Paige reveal, it was quite quiet until she then got tagged back in. And I thought it was nice, like all of the other ladies were putting loads and loads of effort, so they were putting trying to make it as big of a show as possible. I do think the crowd could have been louder, but that's just me. Yeah, I'm not surprised with Paige's return as well, that the result ended in the way it did. I kind of saw that happening as soon as she came into it, so it did feel like the match in my head was already solidified. I do prefer matches where you are more surprised by the wins, but either way, it was nice to see Paige return and get this win. Fair play to her, and I hope that she has a great reign with Brie.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed a lot of winged themed entrance gear from the women. Bliss was a moth. Jax and Lash did have a cool demolition gear, But again, as Gina mentioned, Jax, this was a one woman match. It felt at parts. This is all about Paige.
Yeah. This didn't feel like it was going to go any other way, because why would they have kind of paired Paige up very randomly with Brie, if there wasn't going to be a significant change here? I think, just going back to what my sister said, I think there's a lot of disappointment, considering like there was like a lot of discussion of, oh, the Kabuki Warriors are just being held off, just in case. Well, how is that possible if like this was always going to be like, a backup instead? So it just kind of makes you think, well, what kind of discussions really are held, sort of in the build up to these pay-per-views, because of right now creative are doing a very sloppy job of making it make sense. And I want to support the women's division. I want to enjoy what they do, but like we're not given enough time to. We're not given enough time to acknowledge or appreciate what they can do in the ring, and we're not given enough time to like understand any significant choices made within the storylines. So I agree their gear looks very perfect. Also, just to correct you, Alexa was a firefly, like Bray Wyatt, not a moth. Just to let you know. Um, and I think Charlotte was like a butterfly. So just correcting you there. But yeah, it like their outfits were all very creative, and I enjoyed that. Yeah, I mean, I think if the original choice that you really wanted it on the Bellas and Nikki was not ready, I would have actually just had Lash and Nia retain, because I don't really feel like there would needed to be like that sort of significance. They could have had a bit more run with it until Nikki's back, and then somehow make up another fatal four way so that they don't get their asses beat by Lash and Nia and can get it off someone else. That's that's kind of what I would have said is more logical, but what do I know?
Yeah. What do you know? Trying to fucking correct me. No, I'm joking. The unfortunate thing about Paige, though, was the signing was ruined kind of earlier in the day, but hopefully she can get the credit she deserves now.
I think that's also what again, like we kind of discussed like that sort of thing, like ruining the aesthetic of the show when it comes to sort of the announcement of Finn Balor as the Demon. Like this early announcement the day of WrestleMania about Paige returning or signing a contract with TKO again just already ruined the aspect of, well, she's showing up then, isn't she?
Yeah. All I will say is one day, Emma, one day you'll get the credit you deserve. Monty, again, there's not really much else to talk about as the matchup, but it's kind of weird seeing Charlotte stuck in the mud. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just saying it, but I assumed she would have maybe a higher, ceiling at WrestleMania, but at the moment it's just middle of the card.
Come on, James. She been stuck in the mud. Ain't she in the tag team division? What I tell you about? What I tell you about WWE tag team division? Come on, bro. It's the same thing. Like I knew it was gonna go to probably the team Bella, and the reason why I went with retaining is because I sometimes get in my own way and hoping that we actually get a title run. If you really think about what that last Nia's tag run was, I feel like every time I watch them either defend the title or be in a title scenario, a match got interrupted leading up to trying to build this one match. And then we get this and they lose it. So again, the tag titles are just like symbols. They really have little to no meaning. And that I wish for more for the women's tag belts, but honestly, we know what the men. I mean, we should just be happy the women's tag belts are on the card at this point with the way the men's tag belts get treated when it comes to PLE. But yeah, Charlotte stuck in the mud because she's a tag team wrestler for now. Until she gets out of that, she will continue to be stuck in the mud. Look at Bailey. Like all these, it's like as long as you get when you get put in the tag team, especially in the women's division, yeah, you're gonna lose your standing in a sense. But I just think that I think honestly, this was like, all right, you guys spend all that money on your gear. We know you look good. Let's make sure everybody get an entrance, and then let's somehow build an 8-woman match in 8 minutes, and think we're gonna do anything that's gonna not be messy. Because they did it to where all 4 women are in the ring, so then it just ended up looking messy, and it's like you said, you got to showcase Paige because Paige is the return, and she's back, and that's the moment, and. But outside of that and a couple other little highlights, what else did they do here? What could they do? I can't blame the women. It ain't like the women went out there and screwed up. It's just you got 8 women in a match, and you telling me we got to showcase them in 8 minutes. Good luck with that, dog. Good luck. So yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on the match, but the match didn't do nothing for me. It was a moment. Paige came back. She looked good. I always like Paige. I'm happy for her. Do your thing. And that was it. And so, move on like they did. I mean, that's what I had to do. So I thought it was good, but it just shows you not only a lot of people say they got little care for the women's division. It's just like I think they do, but I also think it's just like the importance of the tag division in a sense is not about having a great women's tag division as much as this is our vehicle to include as many women as we can on this card. That's what it feel like. It don't really feel like the tag team belts are used to tell any stories or do anything other than just be an extra vehicle to get women on the card if they make the PLE card. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is 8 minutes of just, hey Paige, welcome back.
The thing is, I've not looked, but I assume that every women's tag team match has been a multi-women tag at WrestleMania for the past few years, and
Yeah,
that tells
exactly.
you more about, like I said, the feuds and the stuff like this not being working out. Out of 5, then, Gina, what would you give this match?
It's difficult because obviously it's nice to see Paige return, but if I'm being honest, it didn't really showcase much for the women who were involved in this match. So it did feel a little disappointing and like you said, like a one-woman show type match when there were several other women in this. For that reason, I am just going to give it a 3. It wasn't my favorite.
3, Jax?
Yeah, I have to go ahead and give it a 3 as well.
Monty?
2 3/4.
Fucking hell. I'm going to give it 3.5 for the Page surprise. Predictions: Monty went Jax and Lash. I went for Bailey and Lyra, and the girls went for Bellas. So I'm on 1, Monty's on 2, and Junior and Jax are on 3. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch, was next. The Wonder Years played Becky Lynch out, but he definitely wasn't singing. AJ came out with 24 young fans, and some of them were her nieces with titles on their own. Lynch came in heated against Lee early in the contest, but the champion refused to stay down. AJ thought of a manhandle slam and transitioned to a Black Widow, but Lynch wiped her into the ropes, followed by a successful manhandle slam for a near fall. The man then exchanged words and shoved with referee Jessica Carr, setting up Lynch for a manhandle slam for the champion for her own near fall. Lynch pulled the hair to escape the Black Widow. The man then exposed the turnbuckle, used Carr as a shield, sent AJ into turnbuckle, followed by a second manhandle slam to win. And Becky Lynch is your new women's Intercontinental champion. Jax, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it was just there, this wasn't as good as their first initial match. it's hard because of like it's hard to actually have much of a say when the matches just keep getting shorter and shorter. And at this point, we were digressing in how quick these matches were ending. So you had to take a lot in real quick, and just not much happened when you compare it to their first time in the ring. You know, apart from sort of the entertaining distractions of Becky distracting herself with Jessica Carr. I think everyone could read how this match was going to go. Not that I was disappointed by it, but it's like uh, we kind of like knew like AJ wasn't going to have like a long run with this belt. And you know, I kind of don't really know what's in store for Becky Lynch, but I certainly know that she is one of the main sort of like placeholders that TKO are really like kind of invested in and trying to keep sort of relevant. So I didn't see her like being without this belt for too long, but I can't say like I enjoyed this as much as their previous match. And again, I don't think it was either of their faults. I feel like it was again a lack of a match, in my opinion. I think when you compare it to their first match and how hard AJ fought, it felt very rushed in this match, and it felt very much like sort of like self sabotage, give up. And I know that's not from AJ's point of view. That's from a timing point of view. I'm being probably told you've only got like 5 or 6 minutes to go, so just go out there and just do what you can do in that time. But it just ended up bringing the match down for me. So I just can't help but feel like a lot of disappointment that came out of this match.
Mm. Yeah, without a doubt. But like I said, Becky Lynch again has a WrestleMania moment to look back on. And Monty, again, as Jack said, I thought this would have been longer and maybe like a gimmick match as well. Because, again, they've had the singles and this is when it get hardcore, in it? Or are we too used to NXT?
No, you're right. I don't know. I mean, it I think this is another, like you said, another match that obviously was hurt with by the time. But my biggest thing too about it is that I don't like that the only note that I took from the match was Becky finally gets her revenge on Jessica Carr. Like it don't even feel like AJ needed to be there. It don't, like you could the way this match is put together, AJ could have been anybody that you could have inserted Lyra and back into the IC title, or inserted whoever you wanted to, Roxanne, whoever you wanted to into the IC title. And like you said, for something that had so much that was supposed to have like 4 or 5 matches of heat to it, I agree, John. Like it definitely needed a stipulation, it needed something to kind of like cap it off in a better fashion, especially, because I don't dislike this match per se because of who won, because like I said, I'm not that invested in it. But when it comes to Becky winning in the way she did, the biggest thing that you can take away is the beef with Jessica Carr. And like I don't think that's what you want when you got like a 4 or 5 match feud with somebody, is that I felt like you ended up wrestling the referee and that ended up being the big moment, which again, not really their fault. But when you put a match together, you only got 8 minutes to put together, and that is one of the climatic moments of said match. Like, can anybody tell me anything that was dramatic that AJ was able to pull off in this match? Like, I don't remember it. Again, that maybe I'm missing something. But my point is that I didn't really like the way. Not only do I not like the time, but I also didn't like what they could find a way to kind of do with said time, considering that this is supposed to be like the fourth match in an epic series between two people we view as legends, at least if you listen to the way WWE tries to present them. So I thought to a discredit to both women in this situation, I thought they kind of not only did they handicap them with the style and not putting in effort of trying to give them a suitable blow off. This just felt like another match. And then, you know, and like Becky winning, it is what it is. No matter who kind of came out of that, I don't know how you could have got what you wanted out of that coming into it if you really think about the story that they were supposed to be telling us and what the end result of what we have. So like, yeah, it was a match, but it definitely didn't fit the tone of WrestleMania, and it also didn't blow off this feud in a proper way, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, again, Regina, there's not really much to add to that, is there? Because this is just disappointing.
Yeah, it was, to be honest. I don't really know like how much longer AJ has on her contract. I don't think she has like a very long one, so I don't know if this was in relation to that as well, but it was just disappointing if you think about it. Like, 3 out of the first 4 matches of Mania have all been under 10 minutes. Like, that's really just shocking, to be honest, from what we have known in the past. And I'm like, what have I watched though? Because there's been like 4 matches, most of them have been under 10 minutes, but I feel like I've been here hours and it's just advertisement and I'm exhausted from it. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing. I did feel Becky would get the win, and she's a 3-time women's IC champ now. So, like you said, that's great for a Mania moment for Becky. But yeah, I thought their match at Elimination Chamber was much better than this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, why is Jessica referee? Oh, okay, right, yeah. Scores out of 5 then. Jax, what would you give it?
Um, I'll give it a 2.25.
2.25. Monty?
2 3/4.
And Gina?
2.5.
And I am going to give it 3. Predictions: Monty went AJ, the rest went Lynch. So Monty James on 2, Jackson Gina are on 4. And like I said, it is hilarious in the edit. We go from Lynch celebrating to Gunter's entrance. I wish that was the case live. Gunter versus Seth Rollins. Rollins had a smoking jacket and I want to say black eye covers. Gunter attacked Rollins as he tried to take off his jacket, starting a brawl around the ring for the bell could officially ring. The pace slowed once they were in the squared circle and they began to hit haymakers and big offense to push the pace. After Gunter countered the pedigree, Rollins slipped through his grip into a stomp for the first near fall. The career killer locked in a sleeper hold for the first time, and Rollins managed to fight free. The visionary hit a suplex into a Falcon Arrow into a sleeper of his own, which Gunther slipped free from and went to the outside. Rollins dived onto the Austrian, but got caught with a pair of power bombs. Rollins responded with a pedigree and a stomp on the announce table, and then Bron Breakker made his return with a high-speed spear on Rollins into the barricade. Gunter locked in another sleeper and then knocked out the Visionary, had to pass out. Afterwards, Breakker hit another spear in the Visionary from the ramp to the ring, with Paul Heyman raising his hand on the stage afterwards. Monty, what are your thoughts on this?
This felt like the condensed version of a really good Gunther and Seth Rollins match. Like I felt like it left me not wanting more in a bad way, but it like I definitely knew that like oh yeah they going hard as they can, but they definitely could go a little bit harder. And I don't want that on my WrestleMania. I might be the only person that can say something critical for real about this match. Not saying this is bad because it was really damn good. Like it really had me locked in. And I think this is at this moment the longest thing that we had going on. So it actually felt very competitive. And of course, I kind of expected that, especially when you think about this match not really having a real bill. They really still end up giving him a spotlight because you just have to. Like you can't really do a Gunther match in 10 minutes, in my opinion, an adequate one. But I also think I can make the argument that this could have been a really good Raw main event that Braun Breaker ended up just ruining at the end of the show. Like, I can literally see it going almost the exact same way at the end of a Raw, and then Braun Breaker just ruins it. And maybe it's a DQ to the end instead of Gunther actually getting it. But either way it go, I think this is a really good match. They're really great pros. It left me wanting more, like maybe a legit feud with legit time, like maybe 25 minutes between these two, just legit going at it. I think that would be definitely some top notch stuff. But this was a highlight on the show that was full of just nothing at this point. So part of me feels like a lot of the love for it is maybe a little bit. I don't. Maybe, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. I just feel like if the rest of the show was fire, would we look at this and be like, you know what, this is a damn good match? I think they really gave us a taste of what they possibly could do, and maybe that's just me looking at it from a jaded point of view. Either way it goes, I do think this was a really good match, and I think beggars can't be choosers on this card.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was better on the rewatch, but I expected like a more wrestling base rather than a kind of grud match. I was slightly disappointing, but I mean, Gina Bronze back low, so that's what we got. And it was a step up for everything else we'd seen on the card.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this match got a decent match time. And if you even include some of the brawl that was happening before the match actually started, it makes it even longer. I think that's the time they needed for the rivalry that they built in the little time between these two. But they're both great in-ring performers, so I kind of expected nothing less. I think it woke the crowd up a little bit as well. I did call Braun coming back. I did feel that that was the perfect time for it. Um, but yeah, I think I do look forward to seeing the Braun and Seth rivalry play out, and I think this match helped that. Um, and yeah, I just all in all, I think both Seth and Gunther still look good in this match, regardless. One thing I want to know is how did how did Seth get his eyes all black like that, and how did he make them look back to normal so quickly? Yeah, I
Yeah,
watched that twice
eye
and I
covers.
couldn't. But how do you put them in? Do you know what? I wear contact lenses, guys, and it takes me
No,
ages
he
to
had
put
them
them
like
in and out.
he had them over his eyes, like sunglasses or something. I'm sure he was blind walking down the aisle, and then it just like,
Honestly, it just, yeah, it threw me off. I kind of rewound it a few times to see if I could work it out, and I couldn't. I
I was
just
more
think he
impressed
was
with his
possessed.
smoking jacket, in a smoking jacket as well. I was like, that's smart, unless he's like, no one's told him.
Yeah, I did like the smoking jacket actually, and I think Michael Cole like called him like a phoenix or something that I thought was kind of a good fitting, like, phoenix rising from the ashes with the smoke sort of thing. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Jax, I think, when we talk about this matchup, yeah, but I think with Gunther, he's lost twice at WrestleMania, so his Mania record's not that great. But I think the career killer gimmick could harm Gunther because it makes him slight, I wouldn't say boring, but do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he doesn't really care unless he's ending someone's career or something like this.
Yeah, I just also worry that, like kind of putting that sort of like label on him already kind of means that you've got this pressure on the fact that Gunther can't fail in whatever he does because he can't fail. How can he fail when he's the career killer? Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that does put him in a bit more of a harsher predicament when it comes to sort of how to book him in matches. It feels more like he's got to be protected. And as you said, he's not had the best of like, sort of ratio wins at WrestleMania. And if they really want us to believe this, they maybe shouldn't keep flaunting it in our faces so much. Like, how things just naturally, like, sort of built up for each wrestler back in the day, where it wasn't like these announcers that were giving them these nicknames. It was like the fans themselves, and it was just naturally catching on. It feels like sometimes like WWE just want to throw it in our faces so it will catch on rather than it catching on
Yeah.
naturally. And something like career killer just needs to happen naturally. Like, stop setting up, right, who's the next to retire, because we need to push how important it is that they're retiring so that we can then go, bye Gunther, you know? It's just, it gets boring after a while. And again, I think you just also said this. Why does it always have to be him? Like that. Let's also not forget like the different sort of matches that could be had as someone else's last match. To make it feel a little bit more special. Especially if it came to sort of down to sort of like a student teacher combination. So I don't like the idea of it always rooting back to Gunther to take out a legend upon retirement or something like that. So yeah. As I do want to agree with exactly what Monty said. I felt like this was a good match, but I feel like this. I'm only saying that this was a good match because this was the best out of the matches that I have seen so far on this match card. You know, it was the only match that I think was given the longest amount of time, apart from the main event, on night one. Um, so we got a lot more time to play with. I did go back and rewatch it, and I still think they did a good job. But I do think Seth and Gunther have had better matches together, and I think if they did even have it much more longer, they probably could have showcased that. Again, I think Monty said this, but I agree with the fact of it having been done potentially as a main event on Raw, and then had Braun, kind of make his comeback then. This was just shoved on the match card because of their names, who's involved with it, and the fact that they didn't want to hit go with Braun and Seth yet. So this match, yet again, still felt pointless. Kind of what I was talking about with the Usos match. it felt pointless and could have been a Raw or SmackDown type match, but it was just added on here because of the names.
Yeah. So out of 5, then, Monty, what would you give it?
I think it deserved 4.25. Good stuff.
Cool. Gina
I'll give this a 4.
and Jax.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4.25.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4.25 as well. Predictions, we all went Gunter. So Monty James are on 3, Jax and Gina are on 5. We saw the watch parties, which were allowed, just not in Vegas. And then the Hall of Fame class of 2026. Of course, Stephanie got a bigger entrance than AJ Styles. But I'm sure things would improve with the Women's World Championship match between Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan. Morgan had a full dance routine to a new theme. Well, the backup dancers helped her. The new theme is still rough to hear, just as an entrance. Vaquer came out in impressively dramatic gear that dragged rose petals behind her. Liv started strong with springboard powerbomb out the corner, and Insecurity set up a frog splash. That put her countered and laid into the Devil's Kiss. Liv went for her own Devil's Kiss, but Vaquer countered into an SVB and an Oblivion for a near fall. Roxanne Perez arrived to distract referee for Raquel Rodriguez attack on Vaquer, followed by Oblivion for a near fall. La Pereira sent Liv into Raquel outside, followed by a springboard to the floor. Morgan sent him into the steel steps, followed by a second Oblivion for the victory. Dom arrived after celebrating the win alongside Raquel and Roxanne. Your new Women's World Champion is Liv Morgan. Gina, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I am going to already say I'm a bit disappointed, but I'm more just disappointed that they didn't get the same amount of time that Gunther and Seth got, especially if you were going to go with a title change. I think that their feud deserved, the longer match slot. Maybe they were doing it to protect Liv and Steph from injuries or something, but I just think it would have been much better to give them a longer time. I mean, it was a good match. I did expect this title change, if I'm being honest, and I also expected Liv to benefit from, Roxanne or Dom or Raquel, someone getting involved. So I'm not actually surprised, but I do think it was a good match, and it did. Everyone still loved Stephanie Vaquer, so there's not anything lost there for Vaquer, but I do feel a little bit still a little bit gutted for her. I knew this outcome was going to come, but I'm still gutted for her regardless. I think she's been a good champ since she's held it since um when was it? Since September, I think she won it.
Yeah.
I think she's been a good champion and she's been very popular, so I don't think this is going to hurt her image in any way. I think everyone's going to be excited to see her come back and get the belt again at some point in her future. But yeah, it's always bittersweet when the heel wins, isn't it? And especially when they have help in their corner too. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but yeah, okay, fair play. And one other thing, I'm really sorry, Liv, I could not watch your performance without my hands over my face because I was really cringing. I just felt it was a really cringy entrance. I'm sorry, but please don't do that again.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Yeah, but like I said, Liv with this reign cements herself with one of the top women in WWE. It's kind of funny she took like Alexa Bliss place. And what is incredible to think as well, and Jack said, I love you, and Gina mentioned it with Stephanie Vaquer. This is her first WrestleMania, and she walked in like she owned the place. It's just a shame, like I said, they didn't get long enough.
She walked in looking like a fucking queen. Like, that whole entrance was stunning. It was beautiful. I think was one of the most beautiful entrances to come out of WrestleMania over the course of the 2 days. Um, her, just I feel like Liv's entrance was just like it was just hair going everywhere, like kind of her hair was going everywhere, and I couldn't focus actually on dance choreography because all I just saw was her getting swung around. So yeah, I didn't understand why we needed to get like her music video sort of entrance when it wasn't like, in my opinion, sort of dance choreography. Um, it was just more just her swinging off of a guy all the way down the ramp. So it was a bit awkward and a bit cringe to watch, to be honest. And yeah, I don't really have much to say on the match itself. I am disappointed in this, just like I have been a couple of the other matches. I can't hide my disappointment. I felt like both women deserved a lot longer. I don't believe the bullshit about both of them being too injured and they wanted to protect them, especially when you go ahead and give us like Liv having a what was it, 15 or 16-minute match on Raw, like the Raw after. So that to me just seems like sort of a lazy way of trying to get some sympathy or get a way out of having an excuse in that regard. And again, what like my sister pointed out, having Seth and Gunther have longer than a title match, um, like just seems to me like that's a no-brainer. Like, what are you doing? Why is a title match not getting that same sort of caliber of time? Especially when you give us longer ads on Hogan's documentary than you gave us that match. It's fucking ridiculous. So my anger towards it probably was disdain for sort of the ratio of ads and Hogan documentary shit that we were getting compared to what we could have gotten out of both of these women. Um, yeah, again, I kind of saw this coming, but I was a bit disappointed that we didn't see Roxanne turn. So I wonder if that's still yet to come. It is yet to come. I feel it's gonna happen, but clearly it didn't happen at WrestleMania. So we'll see how things go from there. Really kind of pleased for what Stephanie was able to do, and I have no doubt she'll be shoved back in the title picture again soon.
Yeah, Vicar will bounce back, no doubt about that. Montini, Victor Ad?
Y'all spent so much time talking about the injuries because that's all this was. I don't even remember Liv Morgan interest to be fair, but I'm pretty sure it was horrible if it was to that new song because that was horrible. And as far as Stephanie goes, you know, she'll be all right. I probably believe that maybe she hurt. I don't know. Like you said, the Liv thing is kind of hard to believe you make her go wrestle the next night. But maybe Stephanie was is hurt more so than they thought. Had something she was working through, and that may be the excuse. But either way it goes, it's still still just frustrating. Like you mentioned, like you got a women's world title match. Like I told you, they don't care about the women's tag division, but for the women's world title to not get to basically get the less than even that match was really shocking, man. There wasn't really much to the match either, and I know again they probably were stifled by time, but like you said, they were hard hitting throughout the build up and doing all of that, and just for us to not get any of that pretty much, and just get a simple kind of pass the belt on match. So it was what it was, but you know, it, I will say this: if you want me to look at this from a funnier point of view, it is funny that all that choreo Liv did, and she was still able to win this match. So that's kind of that make me disrespect you as a fighter. Like, damn, Stephanie, she beat you after doing all that, did a whole choreo set. But other than
Yeah,
that,
it's true.
that's it though. It was what it was.
Out of 5, then, Gina, what would you give it?
Um, I'll give it a 3 3/4.
No, Jaxie?
3.
Monty?
2.5.
And I'll give it a 3.5. Predictions. I went for Quer, the rest went for Liv. So I'm on 3, Monty's on 4, Jackson Gina on 6, and on for a perfect score as well. John Cena appeared before the main event to announce the attendance at 50,816. Bianca Belair then made a surprise return to the ring, revealing she was pregnant, and asked Cena had a child to be the attendance for the show. I mean, I don't know who wants to say fucking Jaxie, what were your thoughts on Bianca Belair showing up pregnant? I should be happier.
I mean, really, really pleased for her. Really just want to kill Montez Ford right now. This is awful timing. um, but I'm glad to know, a lot of people were really thinking that there was something genuinely wrong with her finger or something that she wouldn't be able to wrestle again. Um, I'm glad to know that it's actually something like, sort of being pregnant and not an injury that is um, preventing her from returning to the ring. Whether or not I could actually, I very much question how John Cena can add another number of in attendance with an unborn child. Um, to the number. That to me was just baffling. I was like, really? You're going to go there? Are you going to ask every other potential pregnant woman sat in the stalls if they're pregnant? And then are you going to add those numbers to it as well? Like, that to me was ridiculous. But I'm
Yes.
pleased. But I'm pleased for Bianca overall.
Yeah. Montez Ford was not let into the stadium, just to let everybody know. It wasn't about him. All right, main event time, WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Rhodes' entrance was selling his journey with a Batman-like presentation of his past looks. Orton walked so slow down to the ring that he and Pat McAfee's entrance could have doubled the length of the women's matches. Pat McAfee stole the microphone from Alicia Taylor, gave Orton a horrible hype up. He then blasted Rose with a mic before the bell. They brawled to the outside. Jelly Roll arrived to elbow McCaffrey through the announce table, and then he was stretching out. I just don't know. And then it started, and the match started. The Viper quickly showed weakness, highlighting potential injuries to his knee and back, which Cody targeted. Rose sent the Viper into the steel post outside and busted him open. He beat down Orton only to get caught by a crossroads. Rose responded with an RKO. Rose walked into an RKO for a near fall. The American Nightmare responded with an eye poke that caused Orton to accidentally RKO referee Charles Robinson. In the follow-up chaos, Rose low blowed Orton only to dive into an RKO. McCaffrey returned in the referee's uniform to count, but Rose kicked out before 3. Orton RKO'd Pat for failing him, apparently, and then got caught with a crossroads for Cody Rhodes to get the win. Afterwards, Orton struck Rose with the Undisputed W Championship and then punted the American Nightmare. It's only saying this I realised. I mean, Monty. I mean, you can tell it was me even talking about it. It's horrible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. This was awful.
I think the story of it just don't make a lick of sense, and that's what make it worse. Like, cause like it is a solid wrestle match with some pretty decent moments underneath this match, but it was just overbooked to death because they screwed up the build, and they knew people hated Pat, and they knew they were gonna play. They were playing some stupid Jelly Roll Pat thing, and they were gonna try to sell that, but obviously that got scrapped too, thankfully. But still, they was like, all right, well, let's just get this out the way. And then it just turned into a regular match. So you did all of that. It was dramatic, and then we get, like you say, to the to when Pat comes back, and then like Randy kind of like you said because he failed him, but like you mean it's the reason why we don't really know why that was happening, because it's like, okay, so he turns
I
back.
guessed. I
Yeah,
assumed.
you're guessing exactly. You're assuming that's why he did it. Like we don't know. And then like if you look at the way the match was wrestled, it was wrestled like Cody was wrestling like a heel. So like even the fans are confused. Like they're not just booing Cody because they want Randy to win. Like Randy was wrestling like a damn babyface. Like Randy selling his back, his neck. He's getting beat up most of the match. Cody's like being extra aggressive, getting booed, and then we get to the end and like Cody just kind of takes advantage of him like he did in King of the Ring. But instead, and then they make it even more worse in the end by letting Randy beat him down and punt him instead of just doing what. I mean, I don't think Cody needed to beat him up after he wins, but I'm just saying a heel turn to help Cody win just feels like it would have made so much more sense with the way the match was built up. Like it just like people, they were just so confused to me with the way they put that match together. So it's like I think it's a solid wrestle match like underneath it. But like as far as the main event goes, and as far as like giving people a cathartic feeling on the way of the show, like it really, just like you said, just screwed everything up even worse because it was such a fucking confusing mess. And like you don't ever want to leave a show confused. like when they were closing and Randy just did, and it's not confused in a good way, like, ooh, I can't wait to see where this goes next. It's confused, like, what the fuck was this? Like, and then it don't help that before that, like between Bianca's announcement or either before Bianca's announcement, either way it go, it was like this big ass lull moment in the show after the Stephanie stuff where it's just 30 minutes of nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally just ads, 30 minutes of that, long ass entrances, and then we get a 20-minute match that ends with nobody knowing what the hell is going on. It was just like one of the most confusing endings to a night ever. And I literally left that day after Saturday. I was like, we gotta stop doing 2 days because this was shit.
The thing is, Orton being face and bland leading up to this would have been better. More chance of Cody
Right.
getting cheered, and then you punt him afterwards. Because even Michael Cole said, "Now we're seeing a true Randy Orton." Wasn't that the fucking point of the
Right.
the still
I thought we
stare
saw him
attack?
when he beat him at the contract signing. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
I mean, Gina, this was so bad. Jelly and Pat both said they didn't want to get involved. You know what I mean? And shouldn't be involved in stuff like this.
Yeah, and I highly agree. When I saw the spot that they did at the very beginning of the match, I just feel like they were like, "Oh, I did you see what I Show Speed did? I want to do that." Like it looked like that, sort of thing. I don't know. It definitely, I agree with Monty. It left you confused. Like, is Randy a face? Is he a heel? Is Cody a face? Is Cody a heel? I don't even know because Cody was just pulling all of these heel moves out, but then could he have been pulling these heel moves out because that was the only way to sort of overcome Randy at this point? But yeah, I don't know. Again, I've left this with more confusion. I don't think it was a good idea involving anybody else. They should have literally just left it between Cody and Randy. I don't understand their need to involve other people into feuds lately. It's not that it's not welcomed, but it's nicer when it's done out of like randomly, not every single match that has a title attached to it having people involved, Little Yachty and Trick. I'm not even trying to say like they're bad, but I'm just saying there's so many matches that have people tied to them for no reason. So it's taking it away a little bit from even the prestiginess of this title when you're just seeing all this riffraff happening around it. It's kind of deflating, to be honest.
But it's funny as well because the Pat thing, especially with kind of Randy Orton fans or people go into, like I said, to watch the main event, are going, look, we've had McAfee involved, but at least it means we're going to get a title change. And then Pat was pointless in the end and hurt the build up to the match
He
because the match
was.
wasn't the way we thought it was going to go.
Yeah, he was pointless. And it's kind of like, I don't even know whether to blame him or whether to blame Randy because I'm like, Randy, I get you're upset that he didn't get the 3 count there, but shouldn't you still be working with Pat to just, hit Cody again and get another pin? Instead, you
Oh.
just decided to take him out yourself. Like, yeah, make it make sense.
I know. Pat didn't even do a fast count. They tried to call it afterwards as a fast count, but it wasn't a fast count. And it's just like, maybe that's what Orton was pissed off. I don't know. But Jaxie, I want to ask you this, all right? And I know people might be like, oh, fuck off. But maybe Cody Rhodes can't have a good main event without Roman Reigns, because he's had two without him and they're not been good.
Yeah, I mean, I want to blame it on Cody, but I really don't think it is his fault. I think it's creative's way of writing. Because again, just going back to what you said, what should have happened here is Pat running down and doing the quickest 3 count of his goddamn life. I don't know what was the point of having him involved if this was not going to be the outcome. It really feels like there was no point for this match to have ever taken place because apart from the giant shiner of a black eye that Cody gets, nothing of significance happens that changes any serious content or storyline for the main title picture. This to me was just so fucking pointless. This was a waste of a match. I just,
You would
yeah,
you
I
would
don't really
actually
have
think
much.
you would actually think WrestleMania is the biggest show where they, end stories that they've been building for the past year or cementing for the past few months. But
Mm,
it just feels like WrestleMania is just like, oh no, we're just gonna like
yeah,
have this match end in a
but I
stalemate
also
again
couldn't.
and continue
I also,
this.
I also couldn't even tell by the end of this match who was meant to be the face and who was meant to be the heel. Because again, as you were rightly describing, like Cody was using heel tactics throughout the whole match, but then like Randy brings back the punk kick, and then all of a sudden he's more the bad guy now as well. And yeah, I don't know. Just like Monty said, I've just left that main event feeling so goddamn confused and not sure why that match even took place.
Yeah.
So it felt
Well,
really pointless as a main event for me.
Yeah, one moment I did laugh at was Cody picking up his daughter, which is lovely. You know, I know Orton went and grabbed his child as well at the same point.
That was
But
so petty.
but much like Mick Foley, it probably wasn't the best choice to watch her dad with his eye bulging out at the end of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But Brandy's like, don't worry, daddy's all right. And his fucking eye's just coming out. Um, but yeah, it wasn't good. It carried on the tradition of a bad main event from WrestleMania 41. You know, because we had obviously Cena and Cody. Because we forget about how bad that was because of the SummerSlam rematch. But literally, we are you're 0 for 2 at this moment in time. Scores out of 5. Then Monty, what would you give the main event?
Yeah, and also to go back to your thing about Cody, I got an argument that helps Cody because both of them matches are kind of hurt by the same thing: forced celebrity involvement and just not making sense with what or making Cody look bad in the thing. And I think this match is another match that also kind of just make Cody look bad or at least make him look very confused. And if we're gonna go confused, then let's continue. But they keep stopping and starting with the confused Cody Rhodes run, and I think that's not helping. But anyway, overall, my score I think will probably be like I said. I don't think it was a horrible match underneath. I think I'll give it like a 3.5 as far as like wrestle matches. But it's like you said, with everything else, bring that score way down to like to the 3.5. Like it could be a 4 in here or something. But I think it was just so much junk that didn't make sense that you gotta at least. I don't see how you can get to the fours for that. That's just how much. That's how confused it left me. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with 3.5. But I don't think Cody deserved all of the bad rap because both of those matches against two older guys. I saw him and Randy have a much better match without all this shit in it. At King of the Ring, and I saw, and I think, and we saw what he did with Cena at SummerSlam. So to give Cody his prop, they keep fucking up his matches that's not involving Roman.
Gina?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.25.
Really cool. Jax?
Yes, 3.25 from me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 predictions. Well, the final scores, we all went Cody. So it means I'm on 3, Monty on 4, and Jaxie and Gina with the win on 6. So congratulations. Well done, Jax and Gina. Let's not get carried away, though. All right?
Would have been
Because it was,
so sweet if we got that final hit there and got a clean sweep, but
but you didn't,
asking
did
too
you?
much
You
there.
didn't, did
Asking a
you?
bit too much. Yeah.
You didn't. That's brilliant.
Oh,
Oh,
shut up,
God.
James.
So the prediction league means the WWE league at this moment in time. Monty on 0, I'm on 1, Gina Jaxie on 2. But of course, we have got another night at WrestleMania. We have to do the overall on night 1 with the capital 1 on the turnbuckles, the ads at every corner. It was not a spectacle, it was a cash grab, you know. Like I said, to continue from the shit show that was Mania 41 main event, it was awful live and slightly better on the rewatch, but the main event stunk. Oh, I was not happy when I wrote that. So we'll do match MVP and rating. Jaxie, I'll start with you. What was your match tonight? Who's your MVP? And what's your score out of 10?
Um, I'm gonna give match of the night probably to Stefan Gunther. Yeah. Um, uh, you can tell I've not really got much motivation for this, for night 1. I'm gonna give MVP to Jacob Fatu for night 1.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Out of 10, I'm gonna give this a 7.
Give it a 7. Monty?
My match itself is Drew. I mean, Jacob Fatu and Drew. MVP. Page. Why the fuck not? 5.
Fucking Jesus. Gina?
Um, match I'm gonna give to Jacob and Drew. MVP I'm gonna give to Bianca Belair and the baby on the way. Um, And
Does that count as two MVPs or just one? Is it
well,
two
if it
people?
possibly
No, we'll
two,
just
but if we have to choose one, then the MVP goes to the baby.
yeah.
And what have I left to do? Oh, overall, 5.
Oh shit me. 557. I'll give it a 7. And that for me is like my lowest ranked pay-per-view ever. MVP is Liv and match is Drew versus Fatu. Post show, Joe Test, Corey Graves, Big E. Fans were just going home rather than watching the panel. That tells you how bad WrestleMania was when they're just like, do you know what? Fuck
fucking
this.
blame them. I don't blame them. I also saw coming out at night one the prices for food in the arena that they were saying. Why the hell would you stay even for another drink if it was going to cost you another like $30 just for one small bottle of water or something? Like fuck that. I'm going home too.
Jackie and Kathy were inside. Peter Robertsburg calls Orton Cody a classic. Fuck you. Paige joins the panels. The Bellas might have been there. We got welcome back chance at 8 years, and she said this is her home. Incredibly, she's only 34. Because Monty, we think with Paige, obviously she's been around a lot, not in that way, but you know what I mean, AEW, WWE, and stuff like that. But only 34. She didn't know what her reaction would be. So it's nice that she's still a little bit humble as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I saw some people because people are weird and bringing up like stuff she said about negatively about WWE in the past or whatever. But it's like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. She and then like I said, even in AEW, she just kind of always got a lot to me from my point of view, she always got a lot more hate than I always figured that she deserved. But so that may play a factor into why she wasn't expecting to be kind of welcome maybe by the fans. But I do think to be fair to her, like if it's anybody, if Punk can be like his home, like Paige definitely can say it because like she legitimately grew up in that. Like you said, people forget, but like she was very very young when she popped up on our screens for WWE. So like she kind of grew up right in front of our very eyes, and we've been along. I know me as somebody who's been watching wrestling for the last 15 years intently for the most part. I've kind of seen her go through all these ups and downs, so it's been a great journey. And I think, but I agree with you. It's like it's kind of at the end of the day, I think I've heard a lot of people say that. Like even I don't know if Punk said it himself, but a lot of people say when you never know, and they all kind of have those jitters about what it's gonna sound like. Even people that you wouldn't think. So I'm not really that surprised, but yeah, I'm happy she got that moment because I'm sure it feels good.
Yeah, Nikki has had surgery on her ankle. Jacob 2 joined the panel.
I
He
saw a
said he.
picture. Ain't no way she was coming back. That her shit was fucked up.
Fatu said he had arrived. Graves calls Gunter and Seth an instant classic. It's only when it's not as. It's only when the event is shit and you realise, oh, they say it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because for too long they'll be like, oh, this is a great match, and it was a great match. So now it's kind of like, oh no, you're lying. You see, Paul Heyman was next. He said he's got more planned for Seth. Oh, good. AJ Lee was interviewed and she gets emotional. She said it's not goodbye, but she has to reassess. And then Liv next. She talks about dancing and singing. Corey Graves danced with Liv. They ate it, apparently. Yeah. Liv is enjoying herself. Great. Night 2 kickoff. It's the same as Saturday with Biggie doing the Oba. And again, I mean, Gene, I don't know if you saw any of the kickoff, but they were just so into Oba. Do you know what I mean? Biggie and fucking everybody else was just more than happy doing the Oba fucking dance,
No, I didn't watch the kickoff, so I definitely missed that. But I did show my mum the Oba walk a couple of days ago, and she is doing that now. So I like to say that she was joining them all from the kickoff show.
Yeah, she started it. They said Cody is not medically cleared. We got another sit down with Roman. Booker sat down with Javon, Trick, and Lash. And again, this was brilliant. I mean, Monty. I mean, don't talk about the NXT, but the connection with NXT and to have Booker sitting down with them as well. It's like, yeah, there are guys.
Yeah, somebody was watching them with us, thankfully. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that was a nice call, a nice touch. Really, really cool that they let Booker do it too. He's so important. I think again because he's so funny, so entertaining. A lot of people on the internet, especially, love to just make memes of Booker. But a lot of people, especially that crop of talent with the Trick Williams, with the Javon and all that. Just talk about how helpful. Trick Williams has been on his interview circuit coming through Mania. He talked about it like Booker T was the one. That's the guy who been giving him pointers from day one. So a lot of the stuff that we love about Trick that comes from a lot of the tutelage that Booker T was able to impart on him. So it was really cool to see him be able to do that and talk to them. And yeah, you got a little insight. It was a nice little. Every now and then they do a little fan service for the weirdos who watch all their content. So I'm happy. I'm happy that they thought about us.
Yeah. Trick said he will leave champion tonight, and we got whoop that Trick chance as well. We got to sit down with Cargill, but she was busy on her phone. Vic Joseph with Joe Hendry. And I don't want to panic anybody here, but WrestleMania 17 is apparently 25 years old. Fuck me. Pierce told Dom he's fighting a demon in a street fight. Dom was furious. Rey Mysterio was happy. He said he's ready to go. Tyrese Halliburton joined the panel. I mean, how the fuck am I 12 years older than him? You know, what the fuck's that about? Anyway, Marcelo Rodriguez and Michael Cole. Cole says, why don't they pick on the Spanish more? And then he picked Triple H as having the best WrestleMania entrance ever. And then we have another sit down with Triple H. I mean, Jaxie, this is what we want. You know, we've got 3 hours to fill. Give us Triple H because we know how popular he is at the moment, you know?
Oh yeah. If you go back and listen to it, I'm pretty sure you heard his popularity ringing throughout the whole of it. Um, you know, I didn't watch this. I chose to, do something else, anything else other than listen to that. So, this is my first time hearing it, but it sounds boring. So I can imagine most people were not really tuning in specifically to hear from Hunter.
Yeah. Well, I found out I'm 10 years older than Obafemi as well. Jesus Christ, you know, what is going on? We got a sit down with CM Punk. Punk said he did cross the line with Seeker. He says Roman can't do anything alone. He is someone else's idea. And we got a good video on Oba. He was a shot putter. Yep, there's a joke in there somewhere. Daniel Cormier joined the panel. Biggie says once Oba beats Brock, he needs a world title match. Go on, Biggie. Another sit down with Roman. He said people have shit the bed to let Punk back in. And Roman says if he can't beat Punk, he doesn't deserve to be in WWE. That was 3 hours. And then Joe Jonas sang the Star Spangled Banner with John Cena open night 2 as the graphics changed from a dystopian look to a blue cyberpunk-esque aesthetic. And then it was time for Obermania. He made his way to the ring looking like he had done it all his life. The crowd Oberring and oohing at the same time. The crowd chant Ober was louder than any reaction from night 1. The ruler was ready for the beast Brock Lesnar. Heyman gave Brock his introduction, and as for the match, well, Obafemi broke Brock Lesnar's confidence early by knocking him down and then out of the ring, causing the Beast Incarnate to lift the steel stairs before Paul Heyman calmed him down. Femi met Lesnar outside where Brock threw him into the stairs and began to send a ruler to Suplex City. Hit an F5, but Oba stood right back up. A choke slam and a fall from grace sealed the win for the ruler in a shockingly quick decision. Afterwards, a shock Femi headed up the ramp while Lesnar left his gloves and boots to the ring, indicating this was the end of his in-ring career, because it didn't matter, because this is the start of Oba fucking Femi. Gina, what are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, this was just beautiful. It was perfect. It was everything we needed. It was justice for Kofi, justice for others, justice for Bobby Lashley, like everyone that Brock has beaten. Oba just got justice for everyone, and it was just beautiful. I mean, Oba dominated in that match. He dominated Lesnar, and I think that's exactly how it needed to go. I don't think that we needed a long 15-minute match of this. I think it was perfect, and Lesnar was just putting Oba over so well. He was selling him over so well. So to be honest, they couldn't have done anything more perfect with this match. The timing, the winner, and just seeing the pure shock and love for Oba rise up. Like, we knew that the crowd were behind Oba anyway, but this has just really cemented him as one of those top stars. And like, I'm sure even like I think like Michael Cole like said like Oba was the next big thing or best thing or something, and I'm sure that's what Brock was first called when he first came into wrestling. So it was nice to even hear that callback, solidifying that passing of the torch. It was just beautiful, and it's the most praise I'm going to give Brock Lesnar for sure. But he did a great match with Oba, and Oba looked like a king.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing, Jackson. I mean, if Oba isn't world champion this time next year, someone has fucked it up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it can't now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just exactly, I don't think I can say any more than what my sisters rightfully pointed out. It's exactly the way it needed to go. This was the perfect way for Brock to hang up his boots if this is what he wanted. And it left making someone else look great. This is something that really should catapult Oba's career. And as you say, if he's not some form of champion by next year, TK really have to have fucked up the creativity that they've got with this guy, and I don't know how you fuck this up. So let's hope that they keep it going. But I do feel like Brock felt a worthy opponent had actually, sort of come into play. And I'm glad that he was able to have given something back to Oba by giving him that platform to overcome someone as the beast, and really kind of give him that push that potentially could rocket his career. So we'll see how things go.
Yeah, without a doubt. Monty, I mean, this match, like we said, we talk about Oba looking great. And, people kind of talking about Brock Lesnar, but for me, far too often, Brock wasn't willing to do this for others. Just ask Jinder or Braun or Mox or Kofi or Bobby or Big E. It's kind of like, oh, now it's like that. People look back on rose tinted spectacles, so to speak.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Brock always gave me the vibe that he didn't really give a shit as much. I know in his matches he didn't always sell, but I just don't really know how much credit for as far as not putting people over do I give it to Brock as much as I give it to that old man who obviously had a thing going with Brock in his mind. So like in my opinion, I can't really I'm not gonna say I can't blame him because obviously if it's Brock Lesnar, Brock say, yeah, I want to put this guy over, they're gonna listen. So I'm with you 100%. But it's like at the same time, Vince wasn't gonna let too many people beat him anyway either. So like, but again, now that we hear, I do agree that this is that does add a cathartic feeling to this. I didn't even see the initial match. I had to go back and watch it. It was over so fast, but I was, again, that's what I expected. I'm happy that they did what they were supposed to do. I don't really got much to say about the match. I don't know if I'm not as high on this match as everybody else, or just like I've just thought that I don't maybe I was at this point I was still jaded from Saturday maybe, and I was like I'm not finna get overly excited because they did what the fuck they were supposed to do. But that's just my point of view. But at the end of the day, it was a big one, big deal, and I just want to warn everybody that the way they talked about Brock doing all that was very weird to me. They never done it like that before. And maybe it was because it was all the way unplanned and they didn't know that Brock was going to do that like they're claiming. But whether or not they do, the whole weird let's force career killer on Gunther type of deal and Brock leaving just feels like they setting us up for him to return at some point and then do a match with Gunther. And I just don't want them to do that. That's all I'll say about it. I think this is a perfect way to let him go. Perfect way to just pass the torch. Gunther don't need it. He already put AJ and John out. He don't necessarily need to put Brock out, even if I know that was probably the original end goal. But I think if you let Oba walk around and be like, I retired Brock Lesnar, how much? Come on, forget that. I mean, all you can do is fast track that man to the world title sooner than later, if that's your claim to fame. So I love what this do for Over, but to me, everything they do for I'm just wait. I'm not waiting on them to screw up Over. I'm just more of a sign to where I knew way long time ago. Me and you talked about this many times, Jay. Oba was gonna be the man. I just knew if they kept his presentation the same and they just do what they needed to do with him, he would be fine. So all I can do is just hope that they continue on that train. But yeah, this is great, and I think Oba will be who knows if they really believe in the next big thing, then by SummerSlam he should be beating Roman Reigns, right? Ain't that then Brock beat like Rock by his first SummerSlam or something like that,
Mhm.
like. So I'm just saying if they really want to do it like that, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they actually just have some guts and really put some investment and money in behind Oba. It'll be nice to get a fresh star in that spot. But we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see because, like we know with WWE, they will do us safe, and maybe not investing. Maybe they'll wait too long and not invest in Oba. I'm hoping they don't, but I will always point that out for you guys because this is WWE we talking about. But as far as this goes, it did the job, and I'm glad everybody got that cathartic feeling and that happiness to see Brock go. And if Brock, I want Brock to go out this way because at least I can be like, you know what, good. At least he gave something back to the business. But you're right, James. He did what he did for so many years, but he's not the only one who took advantage of it that way. But if he decides to go, I would like it to be off this because what better way to go out anyway? You know what I mean? Despite all
Mm.
the we know what he is and what we talking about outside the ring, it is what it is. But as far as this particular moment and making a new star, it's about damn time. But at least he did it finally, because he could have said no again, and we'll be sitting here pissed off.
Well, like you said, after the shit show that was Saturday night, this is where WrestleMania truly started for me, So I thought it was a good way. Out of 5 then, Gina, what would you give it?
I'll give this a 4.5, just
4.5.
because of how big this is for Oba's career in retiring Brock.
Yeah, yeah. Jax?
Yep, same 4.5.
Monty?
Give it a 4.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4 3/4 because Oba fucking smashed Brock Lesnar. Get in. Predictions? Well, after night 1, it is close. This one, we all went Oba, so we're all on 1. The Intercontinental Championship ladder match was next. We didn't get to see Dragon Lee, Rusev, or JD's entrance because, well, ads are more important. But we did see Javon's, Ray's, and the champions Penta. The chaos started early in this fight with wild, athletic back and forth. The first true climb between Evans and McDonough ended with a springboard clothesline from the young OG. As the action continued, Penta threw Ray over the rope onto Rusev, who broke a ladder at ringside. Dragon took down the master of the 619 and planted him with a Styles Clash, which AJ is giving him. Penta sent McDonough onto a bridge ladder with a Mexican destroyer. The young OG was the last man standing until Rusev returned to rip the ladder away from him. Evans responded with an OG cut to the Redeemer, but then Penta laid out the young OG with a Mexican destroyer, made it to the top of the ladder, and he's still your Intercontinental Champion. Jaxie, what were your thoughts?
This match you have to kind of watch twice. Again, is one of those ones where just so much happens, that watching it a second time is always worth it just to ensure you call everything. I think every opponent had a standout or highlight moment. A majority of them are high flyers, so this was incredibly entertaining from beginning to finish. Although there were some pretty rough looking spots, particularly one with including Rey Mysterio, where his head ricocheted off of the ladder after he kind of did like sort of a 360 sort of splash onto Rusev from the outside of the ladder. I don't know if you call that. His head ricocheted, and I just was scared for Ray at that point. There were some really good moments from JD as well. I think he was such a real standout in the match for me in terms of not only the spots that he helped set up, but like most amount of damage taken. I think he pretty much was up there with taking the most amount of damage alongside Rusev, which were both two of the main sort of heel members of throughout the group anyway, as it was. Um, but yeah, just really incredibly well done, well put together. I am really gutted to have missed out on Dragon Lee's entrance, especially after seeing how cool he looked with his wings. I felt incredibly like kind of left out on that. So thanks a lot, WWE, on that. But overall, I do think this was the right decision. Jim Fallon would have made a great start to his career, becoming like the youngest champion, but I don't think it's necessarily needed. He made his presence known, and he was a real standout in that ladder match, and he is really going to go far. He's working with the best. He looks impressive. You know, he's got all of the backing behind him from the crowd, so he didn't need this win straight away. And I just feel like right now it's like Panta's doing really well with the belt. Just keep that going at the moment. And also, you know, with the crazy amount of belt changes that we saw take place on night one, it felt nice to see a champion retain so far. So yeah, it was like, you know, like I'm excluding Cody and Randy because I didn't know what the fuck was going on in that match. So yeah, this was like kind of like a nice sort of change of pace in terms of just the way that the match was like given the right amount of time, the right amount of coverage, and you know, just covering sort of everyone and giving them a second to shine. It was great on that aspect.
Yeah. No, it really was a good match. You know, my only complaint is like Penta, Ray, and Dragon all wore red, so they looked like a trios team. But apart from that, it was awesome. Monty,
Yeah, I
anything to add?
wonder if they planned that. I wonder if they planned it.
No, you guys hit it, man. Yeah, I think everybody looked great. Rusev even looked great. I was really surprised. Like they let Rusev get so much offense. Usually, I don't know if you know remember this, James, but like I know like in the big Money in the Bank WrestleMania, a lot of matches, they always throw like Kane in there or throw like one big guy
Yeah.
amongst all these guys who were more acrobatic or high flyers, and that big guy would be like as a stabilizer, somebody would come in do some big power moves on a ladder, get hit with a ladder, but they never really, you know, do much. But Rusev had moments where not only did like he could win, but he also dominated and stabilized. But he also took big bumps. You know, he took big bumps for a lot of the guys. So Rusev really, you know, besides JD, who also took an insane amount of damage, I thought Rusev really did a good job in this match. So I was really impressed with that. You know, Penta, of course, shined as you saw the way that whole finishing sequence with him, Javon, and just the way they did that and how that finished wrapped up was perfect. Javon, like I said, made a star of himself like I thought he would. And you know, anybody who wasn't really familiar really got a chance to see him do some really cool stuff. And I even thought he had chances to win it. And even Dragon Lee, again, as great as he is, and of course Rey Mysterio just never ages. And like while everybody, all his other peers are retiring, Ray is still doing the he's still doing his thing, man. He's still sentoning people, still diving off stuff, doing stuff he has no business doing. I don't know what stem cell treatment or whatever he got done in his knees that keeps him going, but Ray is still going. So shout out to Ray, of course. But yeah, everybody looked great. Like I honestly had really good fun. And again, not to say I love the moment of the first match, but when this match, I was like, oh, okay. They knew night one they weren't wrestling worth shit, so they came out going hard. And I kind of knew this would be great, but I thought they did a really good job of showcasing everybody, and especially in something that ended up wrapping up. It didn't drag either. It was a good 15 minutes that wrapped up precisely, in my opinion. So it was fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gina, this is the thing. Someone's got to speak to JD about trying to kill himself. You know, that's the issue in this matchup as well.
Honestly, I'm surprised he was able to keep getting up to continue taking bumps in this match. But they all were taking bumps in a way, you know. Rusev went through that table and then got up shortly after so that he could take that cutter from Javon. So I think they've all showed off how much stamina they really have. But again, it was an epic match. It was really great, and these are the types of matches that you do want to see on your match cards at premium live events like this because of the caliber that each of them put into this match. So yeah, I've got nothing else more better to say aside from being gutted at not seeing all of their entrances because yeah, Dragon Lee's entrance looks sick.
Yeah. Out of 5, then Jax, what would you give it?
Yeah, so I'll give this a 4 4 3/4.
4 3/4. Monty.
I 100% agree. 4 3/4.
And Gina.
Same.
Yeah, I gave it 4 3/4 as well. Predictions. Well, Jackson Monty went Penta. Gina and I went Javon, so it means Jackson Monty on 2. Gina and James were on 1. We got the United States Championship match, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams next. The crowd was conflicted about Zayn, booing him but also singing along to his theme. The crowd was not conflicted at all in cheering for Trick and putting out the whoop that Trick for the entire entrance. Little Yachty introduced Trick, who came out after Zayn, who came in a coat that train stretched all the way down the Mania ramp. These two brawled from the bell back and forth for the offense. When Zayn sent Trick to the apron, Little Yachty tried to hype his man but got thrown into the barricade by Zayn. Zayn laid out Trick with a brainbuster on the apron and then hit him with a haluva kick over the barricade to nearly win by count out. Yachty bounced Zayn off the rope to set up a Trick kick for a near fall. Zayn responded with a corner exploder, but Trick caught the ultimate underdog running with a trick shot, and your new United States champion is Trick Willie. Monty, what a moment for Trick.
Yeah, what a moment. I heard that damn coat was heavy as hell too, by the way. So what an entrance, what a moment. So shout out to them. That should let you know right there, because Sammy just kind of came out there and Trick got that. So it's like, oh, they obviously invested in somebody here. But again, no, this was good, man. I don't this match I don't know for the wrestling part that this match is getting the love I think it deserved. Like I heard people love the moment and they just happy for Trick. But for me, I love the way this match is put together because it showed me that WWE do hear the crowd. They just choose to ignore people for the most part. So because I thought they wrestled this match like they listened to the crowd noise. And it's kind of funny to me how they can screw up the main event of the night before or like do stuff the opposite of what people want to hear for some people. But when it comes to this, they understand. And and to be fair, I think like I said once before, Sammy is on the road to turn the heel. I think it's obvious. He been conflicted for a very long time, but he wrestled this match like the bad guy. It's like, okay, all right. I know the whole angle is he thought Trick was a rookie and he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready, but he did like you said, a brain buster on the apron for somebody who's supposed to be happy-go-lucky Sami Zayn. And with the only time he's ever pulled out the brain buster like that, and he wasn't a heel then, but the only time this was even different than the time he pulled it out on Gunther to win the IC title a few years back or whatever. I think that was the IC title. But yeah, that was even different than that one. Like this one was on the actual side apron, which kind of gave like a more brutal, like, no, I'm gonna hurt this kid type of air. And then he attacked Yachty for no reason. Because to be fair, even though Trick Williams brought that Yachty out there, Yachty didn't do nothing to interrupt the match at that point. So like, I really love the way this match is wrestled because Trick Williams ended up taking damage the entire time, basically only getting about 2 moves of offense in before finally hitting the finish. So he asked for the interruption, so it didn't look like Sammy got screwed. Like the way they structured this match, you were sympathetic for Trick, and it was just like, oh, okay. So they kind of understand what they're doing. So again, whether they ever turn Trick completely, which I don't really think they need to, I think his personality gonna have him cheered anyway. So you just keep Trick doing his thing. But as far as Sammy goes, I think this shows you that it's time for Sammy to go to the other side, and I think this feud has brought that out of it. And I came away from this match saying, okay, happy for Trick, good moment, love it for him. But maybe now I kind of understand why you screw Melo out of this, because I felt like all along they've been trying to push Sammy to the heel side and maybe making him do this. It's just a slow burn way, because Triple H love a slow burn, guys. It's just a slow burn way to turn Sammy heel. So if that's the argument that you're going to make, I can understand that. I still would prefer if they found a way for Melo to get in this, but I can understand it. Great moment for Trick. Not mad at it because of course I love Trick Williams. But yeah, man, I do love the way they kind of painted this match together, because I thought it was only going to end 2 ways. I thought Sam was going to cheat, but he was doing so much heel work. What's the point of cheating at the end? Like, he was fighting like a bad guy the whole time. So I thought they did a really good job of showcasing Trick, and congratulations, of course.
Yeah, it's weird the amount of faces who are kind of wrestling as heel, so to speak.
Right.
But I mean, Gina, Zayn's heel turn will be great, and we talk about he's got a great history at WrestleMania as well, so I think he'll be safe.
Yeah, definitely. I think, again, as you pointed out at the beginning of this match, fans were kind of confused on booing for Zayn, but also singing along with his music. So I think it's definitely going to stay that way, kind of conflicting. You love Sami Zayn, but you also dislike him because he's a heel. But I do agree, and I think that the heel turn Sami is probably best for him right now to continue with and just go full heel.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Jax, anything to add? Because Trick celebrated with his family, so showing that he's a true face as well.
Yeah, not really. I think Monty kind of said all of the main points that I had. So, just to add, really, that I think this was a surprising win from my sort of prediction point of view, but one that I'm not mad at, to be honest, because if like you guys say, if like WWE and created like the sort of like the crowd pull and the crowd lure, at least they're doing something on it for once and acting on it rather than sleeping on it. So let's see where things go.
Yeah, without a doubt. Out of 5, then Monty, what would you give it?
3 3/4.
3 3/4. Gina
Yeah, I'll give the same 3 3/4.
and Jax.
3.5 for me.
And I'm going to give it a 4. Predictions. You all went Zayn apart from me. So James, Jackson, Monty on 2, Gina's on 1. And then we got the street fight, the Demon, Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. And Mysterio delivered one of the best entrances of the weekend, rolling on a throne or flanked by a group of masked men with flags. Well, until Gina ruined it by pointing out it was cardboard. The Demon had a terrifying
It
Tron.
looked like cardboard.
Featuring a group of faceless people trying to escape and walk down the ring with a spiked staff while covered in streamers. Mysterio was shocked when Balor kicked out of his frog splash immediately. Dirty Dom dodged the coup de grace and blasted the Demon with a steel chair for a 2 count. A 6-1 on the Demon with a steel chair wrapped around his neck, followed by another frog splash, delivered a near fall. Balor survived a series of steel chair shots and took down Mysterio with a shotgun drop kick with a steel chair wrapped around his neck. A coup de grace through the table sealed the Demon's win. Gina, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually thought this was a great match. I can't remember the last time that we saw the Demon wrestle, but
Gina, I think I've muted you by accident.
oh my gosh, really? I
Yeah,
don't know
I
how
think I
much
think
did I
I accidentally
speak?
pressed. We missed everything.
No. Oh my gosh, I've just been talking for so long.
Sorry.
I wondered.
I'll
I
try and
thought I
just
was going insane.
no, I've just been stood here talking for it. Okay, either way, what I said in Cliff Notes version is I thought it was a great match. It would have been really nice to have the Demon be a surprise and us see him come out as the Demon as a surprise. I thought that would have been more impactful. Um, I thought the match was great. They both played off of each other well. Dom got more offense in than I thought he would have, but it was still great all in all for Finn to get that match over him.
Oh, now mute myself. That's great. Yeah.
I was gonna say, please tell me you got that one.
It's going well. It's going well. Jax.
Yeah, I mean exactly what my sister said. Really, I think that the pop would have been bigger if the announcement hadn't been already ruined about the demon. But I think that this was one of the better matches that I've seen between Finn and Dom, and I think we've already seen them face off again once. But this just they had so much chemistry together. This was very entertaining to watch. I feel like this is really reinvigorating, like sort of Finn Balor and his overall character, and I'm really hoping to see some sort of push come from this. But overall, just a great entertaining match. One that probably could have still been on Raw or SmackDown though.
Yeah, without a doubt. Monty.
Yeah, I think the last time before this was Edge, right? Probably Edge. Is either I know the Tribal Chief embarrassed the Demon, but I think Vince changed the finish I don't know if that was WrestleMania or what pay per view that was that Edge fought Finn, and Finn he wanted Finn to win, but Vince was like, no, Edge beats the Demon in the Hell in the Cell or whatever the stipulation was. So that was the last time we saw the Demon, I think. Uh, so yeah, this was great. It was great to see him. I agree. I 100% agree. I've been making this. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I was one of the first people to be like, you know what, they really can't sell these damn tickets because I have no clue why you have to tell us that that's the version of Finn that we're getting. But it was fun to see him again. I love the interest, even though he seemed like he was having a little trouble with the streamers. Even though he did a good job of making it look a part of the the whole scary act that he kind of got going on there. I love the menacing look that he had on his face, and somehow Finn refuses to age. Because even on the show after this, then you see him back in his tight. There was also another thing. I know a lot of Finn Balor fans are happy to see his thighs again. They hated that he was not in his trunks anymore. So it's good that he's back in trunks too, and the paint was beautiful. So I loved it. I think Dom did a really good job. I 100% agree. I almost thought Dom would just get dominated, but they actually represented Dom pretty well in this one. I saw some mixed reviews about this one, but I had fun with it. I thought a couple of spots, especially that drop kick towards the end with Dom neck in the chair, was kind of brutal. So I was like, okay, this is cool. Now, could they have done more? Sure, especially with a street fight stipulation, but I don't know how much the stipulation actually added to the match. But when you look back at it, it was like 10 minutes, good fun. We got to see Finn again. I can't even be mad at it, and I 100% agree. I said it, 2024, I think it was. They said Finn Balor is in for a push. Can y'all finally give me a Finn Balor main roster singles push? Just something. He may not win the world title, who knows? But just give me something of significance for this run for Finn. Hopefully, it starts here.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, the match was fine. The finish was same as Fatu versus Drew. I think I'm losing my voice as well, actually. Out of 5, and then Gina, what would you give it?
I still really enjoyed the match, and I thought it was well done by both wrestlers. So I'll give it a 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Jaxie?
Yeah, I'll give this a 4.
For Monty?
Yeah, 4 for me too.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. Predictions, we went Demon. So Jax, James, Monty on 3, Gina on 2. The Women's Championship, Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. Some guy was sitting in commentary with Cole and Barrett. Champion came out first again. Cargill quickly tried to establish dominance with body slams. She used the ropes and outside areas continues to lay into Ripley. Eradicator laughed at Cargill's early offense and began a comeback. The Storm tried to overwhelm her with power, but Ripley continued to counter. Michin arrived, followed by B-Fab for distraction and boot in the post. Cargill took advantage with a version of a one-winged angel for a near fall. EF Sky arrived to lay out both Michin and B-Fab when moonsault to the floor. After a final series of counters, Ripley caught Cargill with Riptide for the victory. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this?
This was a tough one because I actually think that this match was. I think this match was entertaining. I think that this is probably um Jade's best match in terms of the way that she looked, the way she came across. She was doing some great moves, and really looked like executed them successfully and in a way that just was looked very impressive. Looked like she'd been, really kind of training to improve and looked like a powerhouse against Rhea. There were certain moments where she was dominating for a while, and this is exactly how I wanted her to look, how she should have been coming across as the champion in the first place. I don't know how embarrassing it has got to be to have both Michin and B-Fab come out, and yet they still cause her to lose like this match. I'm incredibly disappointed by the outcome, predominantly because I don't think Rhea needed this win. Rhea did not need this win as much as Jade did, and I think that this would have told a much better story. Not only that, but it's incredibly rare to have had both women's titles change across both nights. So I guess, yeah, I'm incredibly disappointed with the outcome of this match, but not the caliber of wrestling in it, because I think that this is one of the better matches that was on this match card. They were given a lot longer than, most of the women on the previous match card, if I recall correctly. Um, and like, I think it helped for that match to be heightened a lot more. I'm just incredibly saddened and disappointed for the outcome. I don't want there to be, like, all this hatred towards Rhea over, like, a decision that creative have made, but I just don't think this was the right decision by creative. I don't think Rhea needed this. And the only reason why they gave it to her is probably because that they're thinking of the best money grabbers, like how what names are attached to the championships is going to get them the most views or the most money. So that's the only reason why I could think that they would change hands like this, but it makes no sense because Jade really would have benefited from this win.
Yeah. Monty.
Yeah, man, she cooking, bro. She cooked right there. Cause I think you can't really complain about the match. I think, like you said, Jay stepped up her game, proved that she not only has improved but has been putting the work in. For anybody who seemed to think she hasn't been putting the work in, I honestly don't think the match gets enough love. But to be fair, it was 10 minutes, so who knows how much better it would have been if they didn't necessarily have to rush that last 3-4 minutes of the match. Because I did love the sequence that got us to the finish. But what I will say though about that, like you mentioned, it was just by far the wrong decision for a lot of the reasons that Jackson just pointed out. But also, I just think too that you know, this is why I didn't want. This is why I don't get I don't get it so high on WWE for what they did for Oba because of stuff like this. And it's just because they don't do it consistently and they don't do it for everybody. Pick and choose when they want to hear the fans, when they want to tell the best story and do the right thing. I don't think Rhea needed this at all. She will be. We know she was going to end up being world champion again at some point, but you just gave Jade a few months of nothing, literally two defenses and just nothing. And like you can't make. I know, and the thing that's gonna aggravate me the most is that same thing for Stephanie too, to an extent. And what's going to frustrate me the most is that Liv, as you just saw already on the show after this, and Rhea is probably going to wrestle a shit ton more. They're probably going to get a lot more TV time. They're probably going to get actual storylines for the women's world titles. But when Jade has it, or when Stephanie has it, or when Io had it, like even when Bayley won it years ago at Mania, she got nothing. Like Tiffany Stratton ran out of opponents, and they gave her mostly nothing after the Charlotte feud. Like is that's the most frustrating thing about this. And now magically, because it's Rhea Ripley and we got to get on TV every week, Rhea will probably actually have something to do. And I think that's the most annoying thing about this decision to me the most is that we know we want to build, so we want to bring other people up to Rhea and live and some of these people's level. But the moment you have a chance to do that, you decide to not give the heel the victory here when she has a numbers advantage, when things should go her way reasonably, they decide to go this route and basically just okay, all right, well, here you go. Let's give it to Rhea because that's the safe bet to do. And I just don't understand it. Jade deserved this win. She worked hard in the match to show that she was worthy of it, at least in the context of the match. So I don't really understand it, but it is what it is. It's just this is why I don't give them props for when they do the right thing because they do this way more than they do what they did for Oba.
Yeah, Gina.
Yeah, I kind of couldn't have put it perfectly myself, to be honest. It was a great match, and I think Jade's looked the best she ever has. I think she showcased how much she's grown over the past year. If you looked at her this time last year, her body of work in terms of wrestling moves, she looked amazing in this match. I do think it helped working with Rhea. I do feel like maybe she was able to, I don't know, pull off moves that she felt she couldn't do with maybe some of the more smaller women that she had wrestled against. But it is sad because she didn't really get a run, as Monty pointed out. So I do also understand the sentiment in feeling disappointed for her losing the belt to Rhea here. It's nothing against Rhea. She's a well-loved wrestler. So, but I also agree she didn't need the belt. I'm not saying Jade needed the belt as well, but I thought, especially after the caliber of a match she's just put on, getting this win over Rhea would have totally solidified Jade's and her growth. So yeah, it didn't make sense. It was hard to um feel happy for Rhea's win, even though I'm not trying to say she didn't deserve it, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah. So out of 5, then, Jackson, what would you give it?
This is difficult, but I'm being a bit biased with the sort of the decision here. It would have been much higher if the outcome had been differently, but I'm just a bit bitter with this outcome, so it has affected my score. So I'm gonna give it a 3.25.
3.25, Monty.
Yeah, probably like I agree. Probably a 4 Jay wins, but 3.5 from the way it made me feel when she lost.
Yeah, yeah.
Gina.
Yeah, 3.5.
I'm going to give this a 4. Predictions, we all went Cargill. So it means Jax, James, and Monty on 3, Gina's on 2. John Cena announced the official attendance for night 2, which was 55,000, nearly 5,000 more than night 1. The Miz and Kit Wilson interrupted Cena, only for Danhausen to arrive, flanked by mini Danhausens and driving a Danhausen Mobilehausen. Danhausen showed respect to Cena and took out both Miz and Kit for an unsuccessful attempt to casually disappear. Monty, I bet you love this.
And you know I love this housing, man. This is so great housing. I mean, he brought the midgets housing that Michael Cole had to quickly clarify. They told him to say that housing. That made me laugh. He botched the disappearing
I
housing
noticed
Johnson.
that.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
disclaimer.
Michael Cole, hold on. They told me to say that, guys. But it's still housing. Cena housing had the time of his life housing. He seemed to love Dan housing, which made me very happy that everybody just had a little moment to have a little fun housing in between. The show. And maybe it picked me up because I was mad about what happened to Jade housing. So yes, this was fun for me. I enjoyed it. I love that my guy got a little time to spotlight on WrestleMania. Apparently, he was third in merch sales houses. So I'm not the only person who loved Dan Houses. My boy is selling t-shirts. So get ready to see more of Dan Houses because WWE is going to run him into the mud houses because he is making money housings. So yes, congratulations to Dan Housen. The Miz is, I don't know if the Miz is paid enough housings for what he gets put through, but yeah, this is great for me. I had a good time with it, housing, and yeah, I just love how much of a fraud he is, but he's so good at it, so good.
The main event, the World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Reigns got a fantastic cool addition of the theme to the ring. Punk got a special video package as he's made his way to the stage. AFI's Misera Cantare, his old Ring of Honor theme, played. Punk's jacket was emblazoned with the names of late friends and colleagues. The visual of Punk on top of the stadium was Penta level cool. Punk showed little respect for Reigns while throwing hands in and out of the ring. These two talk trash. The OTC wore down the best of the world with a hard-hitting offense near a first Superman punch for a near fall. The fight intensified until Reigns blasted Punk with steel steps, busting him open. The OTC followed up with a running powerbomb for the announce table. Punk caught Reigns on a return to the ring for a GTS. And when the best in the world tried another, the OTC fought through for a spear. Reigns tried to hit Punk with a GTS, but Punk fought out and hit a Superman punch. Punk then took an Ula Fowler from a fan and went for a spear, only to get caught in the guillotine. Punk fought through into an Anaconda device, which Reigns turned back into another guillotine, which Punk fought through and began throwing hands with Reigns. The best in the world threw his hand tape at the OTC, distracted the referee for a low blow and the GTS, yet still couldn't get it done. Punk sent Reigns through the announce table with an elbow drop, and as he tried to finish with a GTS, he collapsed. Reigns hit a spear and then followed up with a second spear with a double rope rebound for the victory. Your new World Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. Gina, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, this is kind of like a 5-star match in my opinion because it just went hard. I mean, even from the entrances, you could tell that this was going to be a hard-hitting match. I think they both showed so much animosity and hate for each other, and you could feel it in just every step that they took. You could hear them both chatting shit to back and forth to each other, even without the commentators having to tell us what was being said. You could literally hear them saying it to each other. So yeah, for me, this match was great. I think it went back and forth so much. You give dedication and time to matches like this. Why can't you do this for others? I'm not saying every match needs to be half an hour, but for most of your matches to be like 7 to 8 minutes, and then you give a good 30+ minutes to this match, like, yeah, it's just a bit frustrating. But regardless, it was still such a great match, and there were so many like go to sleeps or hints of go to sleeps, and finishers hit and kick outs. It was just crazy and insane, and I didn't even know who was going to get the win at this point. And I think like this is like they said, what, this is Roman's 11th like WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And like, what number is this for Punk? His third or his second?
This is his
But
first Sunday main event. So, like we said, his
yeah,
first singles as well. So,
yeah. So like again, you just feel the caliber of the of this match, importance of this match for Punk as well. I don't think I would have been mad with either of them winning, because they both put on that great of a match that they both look like they deserved the win. But ultimately, I did see it going in the Reigns way. I'm not disappointed by it, but I think it was still a great match from Punk as well.
yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Jackson, Roman Reigns delivers again, but again, Punk was excellent.
Yeah, I couldn't really say much more or any better than what my sister has just sort of pointed out with regards to this match. I think this might have been their best match against each other, and they've faced each other quite a few times at this point, but I think this is probably the best they've both looked in a match against each other. There was like a lot more, there felt like there was a lot more riding on the line in this match for the title compared to what we got on night one. And that is, coming from both wrestlers, but also sort of creative storyline, actually hitting the marker and actually putting effort into it. And there were some great moments, and I think moments that really made me laugh as well. I think at one point they were like throwing blows at each other, like verbally, and like Punk like mentioned that Roman's got too much baby oil on or something, and like even Roman just couldn't stop but like laugh at the fact that he just told him that he had too much body oil on. So I think that was probably one of the funniest moments in the match as well. It came out of nowhere. But yeah, it just like this is how like a main event match should kind of really go, where you're invested to see who the winner is going to be, and you actually give a shit about um what the outcome will be. So yeah, night two they got it right.
Yeah. I mean, Monty, I said this to you. I mean, during this match, I remembered why I fell in love with Punk. The whole thing is that, he just wanted, it didn't matter about win or losing. He just wanted that position, and he gave everything he had left in this matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like obviously the Ring of Honor theme and all that had me in my emotions, but it's just like you mentioned, it's just especially when you watch WWE, like I do think other promotions do a better job of giving you those many different feelings, and WWE does it every now and then. But like it was really good to, especially with the recent run and how bad stuff has been, or just how stagnant everything has been in WWE, for this to kind of just give you that. And like I said, I feel like you mentioned, Roman was great. Roman's always great, and I think you probably can find better Roman performances, but like for what Punk was able to give, 47 years old, and just like the intensity and the effort, and just how he just felt like he gave everything he had, which again tied into the story, because like you mentioned, he basically had a perfect performance until he couldn't get him up for that second go to sleep, which ties back to what, when Roman called him old, and it's like. So it fit. It really did. Everything all fit together. That old line really did come back, and in the story of the match, and it's just like, even though, and I think I knew, and I think the beautiful thing about it, and the reason why I ended up picking him for predictions too, made the match even better for me. So I'm not saying I got an elevated score, because I do think everybody knows how good this match is by now, but I do think when you're sitting here and Punk ain't gonna win, because I felt like it wasn't that long into the match where as I was watching it go, I'm like, yeah, Punk ain't gonna win. But boy, looking at it through that lens of wanting him to win, despite that, it was people who don't watch wrestling, who are or women I know who watch wrestling for Roman, was like they watched this match, obviously coming into it like, oh yeah, Roman got this guy, and not knowing much about this Punk guy and all that, knowing more about Roman, they left the match like rooting for him. That's how much effort, and that's how much people who don't like wrestling or don't watch wrestling can see the effort and the energy that Punk was putting into this to try to overcome Roman Reigns. And I really think it just really, really was a special performance. And I don't know. I just think they both did a really good job. And like Roman has always been incredible, but to see Punk, like you said, on that stage, be able to just show that he's still one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, it was just really, really cool. And I just, like you said, I felt a number of things thinking back to watching him over his career because he always, like you said, Jay, he always wanted that moment, that spot. Whether it was Cena, who's the number one guy, he always wanted to be across from the number one guy. It wasn't that he wanted to win, it wasn't that he wanted to be the champion forever or anything like that. He just wanted to be in that spot with the number one guy in the last match of the show, and he finally got a chance to do that. And then it ended up being instant classic to the point to where I see people like Mark Henry and other people point out they thought that was the best WrestleMania match since Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. And you know, James, they really love that. Like Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker is a perfect match in WWE. As far as WWE matches go, that is a perfect match. So the fact that this match is in that same breath, in my opinion, just let you know how special it really was. And I really wanted him to retain, but like, how can you watch that performance and just be mad? Like honestly, how could you be frustrated? Like literally one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. To watch him just go on a great run like that. And he's been on a pretty good run with a lot of his big blowoff matches, but for it to really culminate, like you said, at that place, in that moment, like I think this cemented him. Like in my opinion, Roman is pretty much already submitted, especially in WWE. But Roman don't really have to do much else, in my opinion. But Punk, if you really was on the fence for him being one of the greatest of all time, whether it's WWE or just professional wrestlers, if you really think about it, all the way to like the Eddie Kingston match, to like his matches with Moxley, even the Hangman, the Joe match on the way out of AEW, and then some of the stuff he done with Drew and everything, like this is a great way to put it. Like a Punk said he was done, which I know he's not, but if he was done after this, how can you say he's not one of the greatest of all time? Like this was incredible to me. Over the moon, perfect match, 5 stars for sure for me. But yeah, I loved it, and I think Roman did a great job of playing his role too of like putting him out, basically putting him out of his misery. They did a good job of playing on your emotions and hope making you think that Punk can pull it out, even with that low blow, which is what I was calling for. Y'all knew I was begging for him to try to screw him, and then when that didn't work, I was like, oh, they did exactly what I wanted to do. Again, perfect match. I can talk about it forever. There's so many little intricacies of it. Insane job by both guys, and I can't complain, man. Just they really saved a show that I think was murdered by a lot of the stuff the TKO ads. Like this felt if WWE was gonna lean on this and be like this, you could be optimistic. But we all know because of what happened night one, how could you just be not optimistic? You kind of gotta look at it both. We can't look at it both ways. But this was great.
Yeah. I mean, comparing it to Taker versus HBK is mighty high, but the colours did match, I suppose. It might be the greatest Mania match reviewed on the podcast. It's up there because of the biggest stage possible. Out of 5, Monty, you gave it 5. I'm going to give it a 5. Gina?
5.
And Jaxie?
Full sweep.
Yeah. And final scores.
No
well,
run-ins either, by the way. No run-ins.
No, nothing. This is the thing. Punk said to Roman he couldn't do it by himself, and Roman proved this time he could, which again was another great little add to the story, so to speak. So final scores there. Yeah, Monty went for Punk. The rest went for Roman Reigns. So it means that Gina and Monty are on 3, and James and Jaxie are on 4. So we get the win. But Jaxie, it means that you won both nights of WrestleMania. So well done.
Hell yeah. So I feel like this might be my first WWE win in what feels like forever.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
Well, to win both nights is pretty good. And Monty didn't win either night, which again might be a bit of a shock. But the WNR Prediction League now, it means Monty is on 0 for WWE, James and Gina are on 2, and Jaxie's in the lead with 3. And with the bonus point as well, you move to 7 on the bonus. So all in all, Jaxie, a good weekend.
Wow, that's really good. I've got a lot of pressure now going into sort of the next few pay-per-views. See if I can keep this good streak rolling.
Has
Right,
anybody
so
never won a whole pay-per-view like the entire year? Is there a chance that I can make history and just get a 0 for WWE all
well,
year?
I came closest with
It could
AEW.
be.
It was October last year. that I got the AEW point. So again,
Ooh, I might be shooting for that. We'll see.
So Monty, overall then, match of the night obviously Reigns versus Punk, but who's your MVP and what's your rating?
I'm biased. CM Punk my MVP. Yeah, sorry. CM Punk staying here doing it. And Danhausen, of course. But other than that, the night itself is I think it rounds out as a smooth 8, maybe 8 and a quarter. I thought night two ended up being a really good show, and it really does make my argument, which I know they don't listen because 2 nights of ad space. You guys talked about it the whole time. All these ads, you think WWE gonna go back to one night when they could just do 2 nights of ads and whatever, get 2 gates so they can try to make it seem like they breaking gate records everywhere
They
they
had
go?
over 100,000 people there, Monty, apparently.
Right, exactly. So yeah, they're gonna keep doing 2 days no matter what the hell I say. But I'm making an argument. I don't know if you guys can think back, but for the most part, it is not always night one because I think one time they've done 2 nights. Night one was actually better than night two. But
Yeah.
so what I'm trying to say is it's usually lopsided. One night always seems to suffer. I just have not seen a WrestleMania yet where they've given us 2 straight nights of just insane great stuff. Maybe 40, but I don't remember. Maybe I'm misremembering something. But other than that, like I got an argument that they need to cut it down because of just how lopsided. Like one, you can't go from like literally being like one of the worst manias I ever seen to like, dang, this is a really good show. So overall, we say WrestleMania 42 was solid. No, 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 no. Let's separate it. Let's talk. Like I really do wish that sometimes, all right, maybe we should just go to one well-paced night and they could just give us this instead of a whole bunch of ads and slop. But they want that money, so I'm leaving it alone. But yeah, I give it an 8, 8.5, 8. I'm gonna stop at 8, 8 and 8, just an 8.
Gina, what were you going to give MVP and rating?
I'll give my MVP to Punk as well because I think he smashed it and had such a great match. I'm gonna give night two an 8 as well.
And Jax?
Um, uh, I'm gonna give MVP to Roman Reigns and Punk. I think they both did a great match, but I kind of want to give a shout out for MVP for JD McDonough. I think that he was like one of the real underdogs in that ladder match, and I think he just did so well. Probably doesn't get a lot of the recognition that he probably deserves. Um, I'm gonna give this a 8 and a quarter because I think this had a majority of the matches that were the most entertaining on night two. So I feel like it's more deserved.
Yeah, my MVP is Trick Willie, and I gave it a 9.25 out of 10. Post show, we had the same host as last night. Penta joined the panel. He said Javon is awesome, and he came across really well. Oba was next. He said he knew it was a big challenge, but he's not afraid. He then called out the OTC. Trick Willie was next. You deserve a chance. He said he worked hard and he's blessed. He said Oba, Javon, and him were stand and deliver main event, and now they are ready to take over. And Lash Legend showed up to whoop that trick as well. Dom was interviewed. He wasn't happy. Ray Ripley was next. She thanked the fans. And Roman Reigns was last. It must have been a big event for him to give an interview. He basked in his own glory. He said he doesn't respect Punk as a man, but for the man, but the performer that he does. And he asked, who's next? And then there was Oba Chance, and Oba's going to kill your Chance. And Roman said it was impressive what he did, but he's done it. Let's see how the summer goes. Roman says you've just got to keep going. People want to see you doing well, but not better than them. You got fuck TKO Chance. And then he said he's going to fix the part-time as he is around all summer. So that sounds good, Jax, doesn't it? I mean, Reigns said he's going to be around and responded when Oba's name was called. And Oba even mentioned the OTC. So come on.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're getting the recognition, that's what we're asking for, you know. But I don't want to push this too soon. Don't push Oba in the Roman picture too soon, you know, because of like this is the easiest way for you to kind of then like ruin like the potential run that Oba could have. So just take your time with it, you know. Work your way up. Like let him just blow through half of the division before you actually finally hit the go ahead. on Roman and versus over, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. And then the most difficult question that we've got to give both nights a rating together. I don't, Monty, I'll go for you first because I don't know what I'm going to score this. I scored it 7 and I think 9.25. So what are you going to give both nights overall?
Okay. Let's see. 5 plus 8. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 6.5. No, I'm just playing. Let Punk by itself get it up to a 7.
7. 7's fair enough. Gina, what about you for the score?
I was gonna say overall 6, if I'm being truly honest. I mean, you could take one match from night one, put it onto night two, and then that would be a solid overall one night pay-per-view. But I just feel like there was basically a night's worth of WrestleMania we didn't really need. So for me, I think, do you know what? I'll go 6.25.
6.25. Jax?
I think overall I'm gonna give this a 7 overall if we were mixing both the matches. Like night one really, really brought the score down for me. Night two did its best to bring it back up for me, but I can only give it a 7, really.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.25. Yeah, like I said, a really, really, really horrible show Saturday night, and a really good show Sunday. So and that is it. Don't forget across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod. James, you can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jackson, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me on Twitch and X at Jaxie Scarlet.
Monty
And my multi-pod on X.
and Gina.
At Purple Pain on X and Twitch.
Perfect. Send us an email at podcast@gmail.com and YouTube. Madonna Podcast. We're celebrating 10 years of the WNR. We're celebrating 11 years. What am I talking about? With shorts, universe modes, and clips from any event we go to. The podcast is also live on YouTube and also SoundCloud, all on your phone, and Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. That is it. Our next episode, if my voice holds up, we celebrate 11 years of the WNR Podcast with Raw after WrestleMania, the WWE releases, and AEW Dynasty. Until then, I've been James Volans and was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Jaxie, not many people win both nights at WrestleMania.
What can I say? It is a talent. There's been great guys, but the caliber of matches sadly have not. It's just been my intuition.
Yeah. And of course, the mind of Monty. I mean, you didn't win Monty, but still, you're coasting from last year.
Yeah, Danhausen was there, so I won.
And of course, the genius of Gina. Thank you for joining me, Gina.
Yeah, the crown didn't help me this time around, but hopefully I can come back for the next WWE event.
Without a doubt. And I think you'll find for this night, CM Punk was truly best in the world. And Roman Reigns, well, he is best for business. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.